Chapter 628. The Land of Lightning was destroyed. The daimyo of the Land of Earth took the stage. Overnight, the whole world was turned upside down. It stands to reason that such a huge change will cause chaos. Those countries that were defeated by the Land of Lightning should take advantage of this period, while the Land of Earth was not stable, to reunite and launch an uprising. But this didn't happen. Or it happened, but it didn't make any waves. Everything was carried out in an orderly manner, as if there was an invisible hand that had already arranged everything. Daimyo of the Land of Earth. The Land of Lightning's new rakeage building, located in the center of the 5 countries, where the Land of Fire used to be. Naruto sat on the chair that nominally belonged to the daimyo of the Land of Earth, listening to the report below. The person who reported was a red-haired puppet boy, Sasori of the Akatsuki. The Land of Lightning imprisoned a total of 1,503 ninjas. Among them, 400 are genin, 800 are chunin, 300 are jonin, and 3 are kage level. The information of these people is here. Sasori handed 3 books to Naruto without showing much respect. He casually controlled the 3 books with chakra, and placed them on the desk in front of Naruto. Naruto didn't care and opened the booklet with the word Kage on the cover. The booklet was not bound, but folded into a long continuous strip of paper. It looked like ancient China's memorials. The names were Land of Iron's leader Mifune, Mist Village Mizukage Mei, and Iwagakure Tsuchikage Inoki. Hey, the Tsuchikage is still alive? It seems that the rakeage also has the idea of dust release. Then he opened the booklet with the word Jonin. Unexpectedly, Naruto saw a lot of woodleaf ninjas. After reading, Naruto put the 3 booklets together again. Tell these people about the destruction of the Land of Lightning. If they are willing to surrender, they will be released. If they don't want to wait until I get married. Get married? Scorpion looked at Naruto in surprise, then nodded, and went to do his job. But when he reached the door, he stopped. Without turning his head, he asked, "How much longer do you need to do what you promised me?" Naruto agreed to Scorpion's condition to revive Scorpion's parents. In exchange, Scorpion sold himself to Naruto and worked for Naruto for life. Soon. I'll definitely give you an answer after I get married. Scorpion continued to ask. Then is it the Edo Tensei or the true resurrection you mentioned? Naruto said with certainty. If you believe me, my answer is true resurrection. Scorpion's expressionless face finally changed. Then can you forget it? We'll talk about it when the time comes. I'm going to do something. Scorpion walked out. Naruto looked at Scorpion's back and shrugged helplessly. When Scorpion walked far away, he sighed. Another child who lacks love. Naruto looked at the map on the table. On the map, there were only 2 countries at this time. The mainland was marked as the Earth Country. The other was the Snow Country, which was not connected to the mainland. At the time, Naruto used Koto Amatsukami to give Raikage a hint to destroy all the countries in the shortest time, and unify the world. Now it seems that Raikage completed this task very well. Next, in Naruto's plan in the name of the Earth Country, the entire country will be sorted out. The old system will be abolished, new policies will be enacted, and finally the Earth Country will announce its abdication. All the land under the sky belongs to the king. Qin Shi Huang's feeling at that time. Would it be the same as mine now? Without denying it, Naruto felt a sense of accomplishment at this time. Naruto suddenly thought of another thing. So he dialed Sasuke's number. Sasuke's reply was as cold as ever. What's the matter? Naruto rolled his eyes and teased. Can't I chat with you if I don't have anything to do? Sasuke coolly replied. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Naruto's mouth twitched. This reply was really cold. Sasuke was as uncute as ever. There's something. Kakashi just got a son and is secretly preparing for the wedding. I plan to attend the wedding and give him a surprise. Sasuke coldly replied. Oh. Naruto was choked by this reply and asked. What gift are you going to bring? I haven't attended a wedding before, so I don't know what to bring. Sasuke coldly replied. I wasn't invited. Naruto laughed. What a coincidence, I wasn't invited either. Sasuke. Red packet. This was considered an answer. Naruto was about to ridicule him. Sasuke directly replied, "If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up." Then, without waiting for an answer, he directly hung up. Naruto angrily stomped his feet. "In this world, you're the first one who dares to hang up on me like this." Then Naruto hung up on Hinata, and the two of them chatted affectionately. They agreed on a time to prepare a gift for Kakashi together. On the other side, Sasuke was standing on the building of Snow Country, looking down at the bustling Snow Country. In his mind, the words of the Sage of the Six Paths kept echoing. "You should have noticed it, right? There's another person in your body. You are my eldest son, the reincarnation of Indra. I also have a second son called Azura. I think you've noticed it too. But he has lost himself in power and is no longer the him of the past, so..." System notification. Intruder discovered. System notification. Intruder's location has been marked. Sasuke opened the map. In the north of Snow Country, there were currently 4 red dots marked. Clack! The mechanical wings of the metal armor flapped as Sasuke rushed over like a cannonball. The mechanical wings were not as agile as the Dragonhawk's wings, but it was faster in a straight line. In the blink of an eye, a bolt of lightning flashed across the sky as Sasuke directly arrived. The location of the intruders marked on the map. For weirdos. They all wore masks on their faces, pointed hats on their heads, and black robes as they floated around. Sasuke raised his hand as the metal armor ejected a long sword. Purify. Just as Sasuke was about to kill these people with one slash, the old face of the Sage of the Six Paths appeared in front of him again. "Don't kill them. They can help you." Before he could finish, the mental connection was cut off. Sasuke's long sword slashed down. The 4 intruders were directly cut in half by this slash and died on the spot. "Don't bother me anymore." Naruto hasn't changed. If one day he really wants to destroy this world, then I think it must be because he's disappointed in this world. Handsomely sheathed his sword. At the same time, outside the defense system of Snow Country, Tonari Otsutsuki closed his eyes and clearly saw what happened in Snow Country with his mind's eye. He mocked. "This guy's words are surprisingly in tune with mine. To be honest, I'm also very dissatisfied with the world you left behind, Sage of the Six Paths." Chapter 629. Rejected by his 2 sons in a row. Hagoromo Sannin was in a bad mood at this time. Indra and Azura were chess pieces he left behind to seal his mother. The meaning of their existence was to prevent his mother from breaking the seal. But now they are out of control. Moreover, they were rejected in front of his brother's descendants. How embarrassing. Hagoromo Sannin, brother of the ancestor. What do you want me to do now? With my strength alone, it seems that I can't control the yin and yang seals at the same time. Hagoromo Sannin didn't answer. Hagoromo Sannin was thinking. Otsutsuki Tonari continued in boredom. "I say, you are really biased. If others die, they die, but your 2 sons can be reincarnated. Isn't this too much of a cheat? Maybe it's because he has been alone on the moon for too long." Otsutsuki Tonari can't stop talking as soon as he opens his mouth. He's a real chatterbox. Hagoromo Sannin, why don't you give me both seals? I can try? Although I can't master it now, after I have the Byakugan and open the Tensigan, I should be able to use it, right? This is indeed a way. Hagoromo Sannin replied. In that case, your chakra may be emptied. Otsutsuki Tonari replied. Then seeing that I have made such a great sacrifice, can you give me a privilege? Just like your sons, they can also be reincarnated. Well, I have to add a little more, reincarnate with memories, how about that? After all, I have sacrificed a lot. You won't even agree to such a small request, right? Hagoromo Sannin. I don't have that kind of power now. Hearing Hagoromo Sannin's reply, Otsutsuki Tonari was extremely disappointed. Then you won't give me any reward? Hagoromo Sannin said seriously. This world is facing a crisis of destruction. As a child of this world, it is your honor to sacrifice yourself. Otsutsuki Tonari sighed. Is that so? Since that's the case, I'll tell you the truth. Originally, I came down this time with the intention of destroying this world. Immortal of the Six Paths' face darkened. Otsutsuki Tonari quickly added, "But don't worry, after the destruction, I will use the power of the Tensigen to create a better world. To be honest, the world you created is really not that great." The Immortal of Six Paths was silent. Tonari Otsutsuki kept talking about his great ideals. "First of all, I plan to transport a batch of small animals that I like from this world. This way, when the new world is born, they can continue to live. And then, let me think. Since I'm a god, I still lack a partner. I want you to let her become the progenitor of the new world with me. By the way, you should hate your son now, right? Let me tell you, I actually hate that son of yours." Immortal of Six Paths. Otsutsuki Tonari continued, "Guess which one? I can give you a hint. It's not the one you saw just now. You know, right? Yes. It's that guy named Naruto. Do you want to know why? Why don't you guess?" Immortal of Six Paths felt like he was going crazy. He decisively cut off the spiritual connection with Otsutsuki Tonari. However, in the next moment, Otsutsuki Tonari took the initiative to connect. Because Otsutsuki Tonari already had part of the yin-yang seal on his body, Otsutsuki Tonari continued, "Why did you cut off the connection? Can't you guess? Then I'll tell you. Because this guy hooked up with the person I like. Why don't you guess who I like? I'll give you a hint. When I was a child, my father and I came down once and saw that girl. By the way, you were sleeping at that time and didn't know what happened. Then I'll tell you. It's another descendant left by my ancestor, the princess of the Hyuga clan, Hinata. What do you think? Isn't the girl I like very good? Her Byakugan purity is extremely high. After marrying me, our children will also be very good. At least better than your children, and more obedient than you." Immortal of Six Paths once again cut off the spiritual connection. Otsutsuki Tonari was stunned. He continued, "Are you still angry because of your disobedient son? In fact, that guy is quite pitiful. When I was idle on the moon, I would watch what happened on the ground. That guy grew up being humiliated. He was under pressure that he shouldn't have to bear at his age. You should understand him." Immortal of Six Paths' face darkened. "Shut up." Otsutsuki Tonari replied, "My mouth has always been closed. We are communicating mentally, so there is no need for a mouth." Immortal of Six Paths was speechless. With a wave of his hand, he took back part of the yin-yang seal on Otsutsuki Tonari's hand. "When you need it, I'll give it to you." Immortal of Six Paths decisively cut off the connection. For a moment, it seemed that the whole world was quiet. Otsutsuki Tonari felt the seal leave and said with a look of grievance, "Why did you take the seal away? Didn't you say you would give it to me? That's the only gift I've received in the past few years. You're going to take it back just like that without saying anything. Is this okay? Doesn't your conscience hurt?" But in fact, Otsutsuki Tonari was very satisfied with this result. In his view, the power of Immortal of Six Paths was not needed at all. The power of his ancestor, Otsutsuki Hamura, was not inferior to Immortal of Six Paths. When Otsutsuki Kagaya was sealed, his ancestor also contributed. But the world only knows about Immortal of Six Paths, and they don't know about Otsutsuki Hamura. In terms of sacrifice, who can compare to them, who lived on the moon in obscurity? In his view, Immortal of Six Paths was a bit too much. Yes, he deliberately angered Immortal of Six Paths. The real him was not a chatterbox. And what he imitated just now was the guy called Uzumaki Naruto, who he hated very much. It turned out that that person was really despicable to the extreme. So despicable that even Immortal of Six Paths couldn't stand him. But, although it was an imitation, but why did it feel so good to succeed in angering people? Recalling the process of angering Immortal of Six Paths just now, Otsutsuki Tonari suddenly felt a sense of exaltation. He made his ancestor proud. Otsutsuki Tonari looked at the snow country in the distance with mind's eye technique. Now there is another problem in front of him. How can he successfully enter the snow country? Before getting the Byakugan, he felt that he was not the opponent of that guy. What should I do? Should I find a way to sneak in? Or wait outside for the people inside to come out? Otsutsuki Tonari looked at the remaining servants behind him and said, "Do you know?" Silence. Otsutsuki Tonari let out a long sigh. He muttered to himself, "There is one more thing. Immortal of Six Paths said that Naruto can't suppress Kagaya Otsutsuki in her body. So the next time I see Naruto, should I call him little beast or great-grandmother?" Chapter 630. If the Earth Country's defeat of the Lightning Country shocked everyone, then what happened a month later was even more incomprehensible. The daimyo of the Earth Country, who had only been in power for a month, actually wanted to pass on his position. And it was a person with a different surname, without royal blood. The former Fire Country, would Leaf Ninja Village's Nine-Tails human pillar force, Uzumaki Naruto. For a time, rumors spread all over the country. Many people said that this Uzumaki Naruto was the child left behind by the daimyo in private. Virtual reality world, Earth Country's high-level meeting. Naruto, Tobirama, and the daimyo of the Earth Country were present. To be precise, only Naruto and Tobirama, the daimyo of the Earth Country, could barely be counted as spectators. Naruto for those comments, "I think in fact, it's okay if you don't care. This way, it will be more justifiable." Naruto repeated, "Don't care?" Tobirama nodded. The daimyo of the Earth Country took the initiative to express his position. "Leave this matter to me. I will say that you are my child, and I guarantee that they won't be suspicious." Naruto looked at the daimyo of the Earth Country with an expression of looking at an idiot. "You want to be my father? Are you getting carried away?" The daimyo of the Earth Country felt that Naruto's tone was wrong, and quickly explained, "It's not true, it's not true. Isn't it all for convenience?" Naruto replied angrily, "Go play with the mud. You are old enough to be my grandfather. There's a limit to an old cucumber pretending to be young, okay?" The daimyo of the Earth Country shrank his neck and didn't speak. On the contrary, Tobirama's eyes suddenly lit up. He said, "Yes. You can let him be your grandfather." Yondaimyo Naruto is a war orphan, who his parents are as not recorded in the wood leaf. Huh. Is this okay? Naruto subconsciously wanted to object, but thinking about it, it seems that it's not impossible. He couldn't accept having him acknowledge a father, but having his own father acknowledge another father seemed to be acceptable. The next day, the country of Earth gave an official reply regarding the identity of Uzumaki Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto was the son of the fourth Uzumaki Naruto. The fourth Naruto was the son of the daimyo of the Earth Nation. After this identity was put on, those people of the older generation who worshipped the royal bloodline really acknowledged Naruto's existence. However, a fake was a fake after all. It couldn't withstand scrutiny. In order to divert everyone's attention, under Naruto's instructions, the Earth Country's officials announced another important piece of news. After the coronation ceremony, the new emperor, Uzumaki Naruto, was going to get married. For a time, the topic of discussion on the streets shifted from Naruto's background to the question of who the bride was. Who do you think the new daimyo will marry? The people next to them joked. In any case, it's definitely not your daughter. The madam who started the conversation glanced at the person who answered. What's wrong with my daughter? My daughter has a willowy waist and thin eyebrows. She's very pretty, unlike that tomboy in your family who runs around the streets all day, full of muscles and tomboy. After a few words, the two madams started to quarrel. The people next to them didn't try to mediate the fight. They all watched happily. It was obvious that they weren't afraid of making a big fuss. After the quarrel passed, the topic was pulled back. I wonder whose daughter it is. She's actually so lucky. Right, you said. Could it be that the bride hasn't been decided yet and will be chosen after the coronation? As soon as this sentence was said, the people next to them seriously thought about it. I remember. He didn't say who he's going to marry. So the new daimyo means to choose a bride after the coronation? Everyone pondered for a while and agreed. It's hard to say. I heard that the new daimyo isn't that old. Someone else said, even if it's decided, then maybe it was his grandfather who decided it for him. The new daimyo might not like it? At that time. Then, the words about the daimyo choosing a bride after the coronation spread out. Moreover, the rumors were so vivid and realistic. Soon, the number of young girls in the streets and alleys of the country of Earth increased significantly. Furthermore, all of them were dressed up gorgeously. Every day, they would wander around the famous residence. Every time they wandered around, it would take them an entire day. Among them, the most interesting thing was Hinata's reaction. Naruto, you said that after the coronation ceremony, you're going to marry me, right? Naruto approached Hinata with a smirk. What? You can't wait to give yourself to me? If that's the case, Naruto put his mouth close to Hinata's ear. We can consummate our marriage tonight. Hinata blushed when she heard this. She said shyly, who's in a hurry? What nonsense are you talking about? I just want to ask, other than me, you won't marry anyone else on that day, right? Hinata gritted her teeth and finally asked. She stared at Naruto's eyes without blinking, as if she wanted to see through Naruto's thoughts. Naruto wanted to laugh when he heard this. He wanted to solemnly declare his ownership. But when he saw Hinata's nervous look, Naruto couldn't help but want to tease Hinata first. Naruto said with a serious face, yes, there are a few more. Hinata's face turned pale when she heard this, and she asked foolishly, how many more? Naruto held back his laughter and counted his fingers. Let me count with my fingers for you. There's Hinata number 1. There's Hinata number 2. Hinata number 3, number 4. Hinata was dumbfounded when she heard this. After she came back to her senses, she finally realized that Naruto was teasing her. She raised her hand and reached for Naruto's ribs, and fiercely pinched. In fact, with Naruto's current body, he really couldn't feel any pain. But Naruto still played along in an exaggerated manner. Ouch! Pain! 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 Let go! Let go! You've pinched off my flesh. Hinata was shocked at first, because she couldn't bear to use force at all. Why was Naruto in so much pain? The answer was obvious. He was faking it. After figuring it out, Hinata was amused by Naruto. The two of them started to fight. In the end, there was no winner or loser. It was Naruto who pretended to be chased and beaten by Hinata. Then in the game of running and chasing, Naruto suddenly slipped. Hinata subconsciously pulled Naruto, but Naruto pulled her into his arms. He lowered his head and pressed his lips on hers. Hinata's body was stiff at first, and she resisted slightly. But in the end, she let him pluck her. Naruto unceremoniously took several mouthfuls of her fragrant and soft red lips. He never got tired of it. He kissed Hinata's lips until they were swollen before he stopped. It wasn't because he stopped at the edge of the cliff. It was because Scale suddenly appeared in front of them. Hinata stepped back from Naruto and whispered, "Don't lead the child astray." Although Naruto was unwilling, he still stopped. He said to Scale with some blame, "Didn't I tell you not to use space ninjutsu in this building? If you want to go through the door, you have to knock first. This is the most basic etiquette." Scale rolled his eyes at Naruto and said, "Sorry to bother you." Then he disappeared again. Naruto pinched his waist angrily. Hey? This child, who did he learn from? It must be Obito. I'll teach that guy a good lesson later. Look at his children, they're getting more and more outrageous. After teaching Scale a lesson, Naruto turned his head and wanted to kiss Scale, but Hinata slapped Naruto's mouth. "No, my mouth hurts from your kiss." Chapter 631. In the first year of the Ming calendar, the Earth Nation passed the throne to Uzumaki Naruto. After Uzumaki Naruto succeeded the throne, he changed his name to Naruto and called himself Emperor Naruto. He changed the name of the nation to Mingdu Empire. Mingdu was built at the center of the continent, and the capital was also called Mingdu. From this, it could be seen that Naruto's narcissism was unprecedented. No, he should be called Emperor Naruto now. The day Emperor Naruto ascended the throne was also the day Mingdu was built. Everyone saw Emperor Naruto standing in the sky and praying to the heavens, asking the heavens to bestow upon him the eternal royal city. The heavens responded, and auspicious clouds surged. The earth shook and the mountains moved within 1,000 miles. An imperial city that had never existed since ancient times rose from the ground. At that moment, the entire world was shaken. Hundreds of birds landed on the green mountains and bowed together with hundreds of beasts. Such a phenomenon could only be described as a miracle. After the coronation ceremony ended, Emperor Naruto announced the wedding date 3 months later. The venue was Mingdu. For a time, brilliant lights gathered between heaven and earth. Dragons and phoenixes condensed into invitations, inviting everyone who received Emperor Naruto's invitations. Thousands of miles away from Mingdu, everyone felt like they were in a dream. Someone asked. Those who received the invitations instinctively wanted to hide the invitations. However, they soon discovered that everyone seemed to have one in their hands. The red gilded, embossed invitation was the size of 2 palms. It was very eye-catching. Everyone has an invitation? Someone asked. Everyone nodded blankly. Then did everyone in this place get an invitation? Or the whole world? The phenomenon of Emperor Naruto's ascension was reflected in the sky. In their opinion, the whole world should have seen it. Then it was very likely that everyone had an invitation. This was very terrifying. This kind of means was not something that could be achieved by humans. For a time, everyone blamed this on the gods. A phrase was also born. The power of the king was bestowed by the gods. Jiraiya was among the crowd. He held Naruto's invitation in his hand. Huge waves of emotions were surging in his heart. He muttered to himself, "Could it be, the child of prophecy that I've been searching for half my life, is Naruto?" Jiraiya racked his brains. Naruto was indeed red-haired, and he had called him teacher. However, he did not seem to have taught Naruto before. Could they be considered master and disciple? Or maybe, Jiraiya's eyes suddenly lit up. Maybe there are still light spots on my body that I didn't notice, and then it affected Naruto and was learned by Naruto. Jiraiya nodded and he firmly believed it. At the same time, the ninja beasts of the 3 holy lands also received the invitation. The toads of Mount Miaomu, the snakes of Lonely Cave, and the slugs of Shikatsu Forest. The more unique ones were the slugs. This was because Immortal Slug only had one true body, and those little slugs were all split off from Immortal Slug. Hence, the Shickle Forest only received one invitation. So should I go? Meow Mushin's great toad Immortal stared at the oversized invitation card in his hand with blurry eyes. He was a little confused, and no one knew what he was thinking. Lonely Cave's white snake Sage stroked its head coquettishly and supported its chin with its tail. Its pair of snake eyes were cold and full of confusion as it stared blankly at the invitation card that suddenly appeared in its hand. Shickle Forest's great toad Immortal. Its invitation card was also the largest. It was as tall as a mountain, standing on the ground. However, it was a little worried. Without hands, how could it open this invitation card? Well, it could use chakra. But soon it found out. With its chakra, it was a little difficult to turn the behemoth in front of it. That. Can you become smaller? Immortal Slug muttered to itself very cutely. Then chakra spread out, and the huge invitation card began to shrink, until it was the size of a palm. This time, Immortal Slug successfully opened the invitation card. She sighed with emotion. That girl Tsunade took in an amazing disciple. Some people who received the invitation were happy, and some were worried. But these people were not as complicated as Tonari Otsutsuki. Snow Country, Barren Mountain Snowfield. Tonari Otsutsuki was still worried about how to enter the Snow Country, and pick Hyuga Hanabi's eyes. Suddenly, a mirage appeared in the sky. The person he hated the most acted like a fool in front of him. Then she sent him an invitation card. The person she liked was about to get married, but the groom wasn't him. Should he go and steal the wedding? Yes. But the problem is that he can't beat her now. Unless he can get the Byakugan and promote it to Tensigan, there is hope. Hagoromo Sannin, come out for a while. How strong is Naruto now? How is he compared to you? Also, has Naruto found me? Hagoromo Sannin, who had disappeared for a long time, appeared again. He replied, I didn't feel the aura of the force of nature. His strength should be close to Mother's, but worse than mine. Hearing this, Tonari Otsutsuki finally breathed a sigh of relief. If that's the case, then when he gets the Byakugan and promotes it to Tensigan, he still has hope. Plus, if he can't, he still has the support of Hagoromo. And the Yin-Yang seal. Tonari Otsutsuki asked. Then he shouldn't find me, right? Hagoromo Sannin replied. Throw the invitation card away. With this invitation card, he can indeed feel your existence. But it doesn't matter. You are not much different from ordinary people now. It's not enough to attract his attention. Is that so? Tonari Otsutsuki breathed a sigh of relief again. That's good. Then his heart moved. Naruto is going to get married and invite the world to a banquet. Then the Hyuga clan has no reason not to participate. They will definitely rush to Mingdu. This way his opportunity would come. Mingdu. The moment the heavenly reflection disappeared, Naruto was lying on the dragon throne. Such a big battle would consume a lot of energy. As for the operation principle, it's actually very simple. It's to connect the infinite Tsukuyomi and the spiritual network together to form a projection that can complete a global broadcast. As for the invitation card, it involves the use of yin-yang release. It's to materialize chakra. That is creation. This ability is something that Naruto recently learned. It's an ability that he gained after fusing with the Jubi and opening the Sharingan. Why are you still looking at me? Why don't you come over and massage your man's shoulders and back? Naruto was lying on the dragon throne in the posture of Guyu and greeted Hinata, who was not far away. Hinata looked at her invitation card and her face was full of blush. After hearing Naruto's call, she rushed to Naruto, hugged Naruto's neck, and kissed him very actively. Naruto was slightly stunned. Then he enjoyed it very much. Soft, sweet, and a little salty? Naruto opened his eyes, and his cheeks were a little wet. Hinata crying? Silly girl. Why are you suddenly crying? I didn't bully you, you can't scam me. Hinata was amused by Naruto's teasing, and she snuggled in Naruto's arms. You bullied me. I want you to compensate me. You can't leave me for the rest of my life. Chapter 632. Naruto. Tonight take me. Hinata whispers in Naruto's ear. For a moment, Naruto's blood is boiling. His hand uncontrollably reaches into Hinata's clothes. Hinata's face flushed red as she exclaimed, Naruto-kun. At this moment, Naruto's breathing is rapid, his breath is like a cow's. It was a hot summer day, but the breath he exhaled actually turned into mist. This scene was truly shocking to most people. Naruto picked her up, turned around and put her on a chair. The palace has just been built, and there is no one here yet. But this hall is really spacious. The dragon throne is located on the 27th floor of the platform. The so-called 39th floor means that every 9 floors leads to a platform. From the bottom to the top, there are a total of 3 platforms. The position is high and the view is wide. Doing that kind of thing is really shameful. Naruto. Is he going to do it here? Although she was a little moved just now, when she opened her eyes and saw where she is, Hinata is shy. She is also a little regretful and a little hesitant. Naruto-kun. I mean at night. Hinata's heart was scared. Naruto's hand still wants to reach inside. Hinata clenches her teeth and a curse seal appears. In an instant, Hinata burns into a fireball. No. The flame formed by the force of nature burns even Naruto. Are you trying to murder your husband? Hinata hugs her legs and curls into a ball. I mean at night, it is still daytime. And it has to be in the bedroom on the bed. Naruto looks around in a daze. He touches his head. The first time here. It is indeed a little wild. Then, extinguish the fire, I will teleport you to the bedroom. The curled up Hinata shakes her head and says, it is still daytime, no. Naruto is angry. Tentatively, he reached out to Hinata, but the flame burned his fingers and made a crackling sound. For a moment, the air is filled with the smell of burnt feathers. There is also a faint smell of meat. Naruto's face is as black as the bottom of a pot. Seeing that Hinata is not cooperating, he can only give up. Naruto takes a deep breath. Sitting cross-legged in the hall. Okay, I will go calm down. Then Naruto's body froze into a block of ice visible to the naked eye. It looks like ice prawns. It was truly cold. There was a moment of silence. After a small episode, the space in the palace hall distorts a bit and appears. Then the space distorts again, forming a vortex. The senior staff of the Great Snow Mountain Research Institute. Sitting on the dragon throne in the Imperial Palace, Hinata felt lucky. If Naruto was really here, what would happen to her? If these people suddenly appear, she will. Face? What are you two doing? One is frozen into an ice lump, and the other is on fire. Are you playing ice and fire? Tsunade takes a few steps back. The two of them, one cold and one hot, the air in the room rises and falls, forming a strong air current. Hinata quickly retracted the flames on her body. For a time, frost begins to form in the hall at a speed visible to the naked eye. A gust of cold air blew against his face. It was even colder than the cold winter wind in the 12th lunar month. Naruto. Do you want to freeze your master to death? Finally, the ice on Naruto's body begins to recede. Tsunade scolds. What are you two doing at this time? Naruto's face is full of MMP. I just want to cool myself down. Cool down? Tsunade suddenly realized and her eyes wandered between the two of them. Seeing Hinata's red ears, she let out a long "oh." So that's how it is. I understand. But Naruto, you too, this is the first time you've found such a place. Which good girl can stand it? Hinata's eyes widened. Tsunade-sama, what are you talking about? There are so many people here. Hinata is embarrassed. Tsunade cooperatively covered her mouth, but gave Hinata an "I understand" with a little encouragement. Fortunately, Naruto is still protective of his wife. He interrupted. The ascension ceremony has ended smoothly. Don't stand here. Let's have a celebration party and have fun. Obito joked. We're here to ask you for this. We waited outside for a long time and didn't see you come back, so we thought you two ran away to have some alone time. Needless to say, Naruto really did have this intention. They also came in time. By the way, why don't I see Gunny? Naruto glanced at the crowd and found that Gunny was not there. Gunny replied, Sister went to prepare the barbecue. We decided to have the grandest bonfire barbecue party. What do you think? Naruto gave Gunny a thumbs up. At the same time, Gunny, who went to prepare the barbecue, was wandering around the forest as if he had lost his soul. In his hand was Naruto's invitation. This day still came. Although she had been prepared for a long time, this day really came. She was so sad. She didn't know when it started, but she got used to having someone by her side that she could mock and bully, and slowly developed feelings for him. That person's shamelessness. That person's rashness. That person's excellence. They continued to get along, and they continued to deepen. Is it too late to realize my feelings? Actually, it's not too late. It's just that she didn't want to fight for it. Hinata is also her good friend. When they were in Woodleaf, they went to Naruto's class together, and then they did some small things together. They compared and discussed with each other. She really didn't want to fight with someone so familiar and close to her. That's why she chose to stay by Naruto's side, waiting and looking forward to it. Waiting for the two to realize that they were not suitable for each other. Waiting for them to become pure friends. Then she would be able to express her feelings. But she forgot that Naruto was so outstanding. How could anyone let go of him? Hinata was not a fool. Gunny looked up at the leaves on the ground. The leaves blocked the sunlight and left a shadow. It shrouded her again. This feeling was so depressing. I'm the fool. Why are you so generous? The leaves rustled. It was not the sound of the wind. Gunny was shocked and looked in the direction of the sound. He saw someone looking at him. It was a girl who looked very similar to Hinata. I thought I was the only one who was sad. Gunny looked into Aster's eyes and suddenly smiled. Aster's eyes were filled with disappointment. Her red eyes, which were obviously crying, were especially cute in her eyes. Aster looked at Gunny in a daze, and soon had a guess in her heart. She smiled bitterly and said, I think it's definitely not just the two of us. When the wedding starts, I'm afraid most of the girls in the world will be heartbroken. When two people who were in the same boat walked together, there would always be a lot to talk about. After the two of them greeted each other, they began to talk to each other. They talked about how they met a certain scumbag, how they fell in love with each other. Gunny started from the Woodleaf Hospital for the disabled. He talked about leaving the Woodleaf Hospital and going to the snow country to work hard. Gunny talked for a long time and then he cried. The sadness in Aster's eyes was replaced by pity. Compared to your experience, Mine is nothing. You've sacrificed far more than me. As for me, now that I think about it, I was just thinking too much. I thought he invited me here because he wanted me to be his woman. Sigh, if I knew that wasn't the case, I definitely wouldn't have come. Chapter 633. Snow Country. After Naruto's image disappeared in the sky, there were still people kneeling on the ground. The expression on their faces was solemn and solemn. It was the solemnity of worshipping gods and Buddhas in the shrine. They were even more pious than when they went to the shrine. Is Naruto the state preceptor? Finally, someone spoke out the shock in his heart. The Snow Country has never been a place where information is blocked. The War of the 5 major countries didn't affect here, but the news outside was known to everyone here. This benefited from the powerful information sharing ability of the system built by Naruto. There was also the loose control on the post bar. Only the state preceptor can create such a glorious thing. Some people asked, some answered. Soon, everyone realized the second question. Who is the state preceptor who unified the 5 major countries going to marry? They didn't need to open the invitation. These people had the answer. Not long ago, their state preceptor held a marriage proposal ceremony. Thinking of this, they thought of the second question. If the state preceptor gets married, their queen, what will happen? This question has been in their hearts for a long time. Snow Country capital. Finghua Snow was also angry at this time. Get out of here. Who let you in? Get out of here. Finghua Snow cried in her bedroom, and the servants were worried and gathered, but they were quickly scolded away. In the bedroom, Finghua Snow was crying, but she didn't know what she was crying about. Logically speaking, now that she was the ruler of the world, she should be happy that she was still the leader of the Snow Country. But in fact she wasn't. On this day, the palace of the Snow Country was very depressed. At the same time, the Great Snow Mountain Research Institute. On the top of the mountain, the Hyuga clan stood together in a neat row, silent as cicadas. They had woken up, and it was Inuheim and Wolf Girl who woke them up from the virtual reality world. Then they saw Naruto's ascension, and the miracle of the heavenly sacred city. And they received Hinata's wedding invitation. There was also a detailed record of everything that had happened in the few months that they had been sleeping. Hyuga Hayashi's face was full of complexity. When they woke up, the wood leaf was gone. The fire country was gone. Wood leaf was destroyed by Kumogakure, and the land of fire was destroyed by the land of lightning. Then he was killed by the Earth Nation. The position of Earth Country's great general was given to Naruto. Why did he give it to Naruto? Naruto was the son of the 4th Naruto. The 4th Naruto was actually the son of the daimyo of the Earth Nation? Is that so? How could the 4th generation Naruto be the son of the daimyo of the Earth Kingdom? This kind of thing was impossible even if one used their buttocks to think. However, everyone actually believed him. After all, the position of Earth Nation's great general had been given to Naruto. Strange. Everything was strange. Who am I? Where am I? Was he still in a dream? Hyuga Hayashi slapped himself in the face at the Hyuga clan's residence. His mouth was very loud. Pa. Such a ridiculous thing. Hyuga Hayashi would never do such a thing in the past. But none of the things that were happening before his eyes made him understand. It didn't feel real at all. Patriarch. This slap shocked many people. Hyuga Hayashi ignored these people and lowered his head to look at the invitation in his hand. The most ridiculous thing was, their daughter was about to get married. And they were just notified. Before this they knew nothing. They didn't even get a betrothal gift. They didn't even ask for their permission. How do I contact your master? Hyuga Hayashi asked Inazheim. Inazheim took out a 3-star identity card and handed it to Hyuga Hayashi. Just drip your blood into chakra on it. This is an identity card. You will know its specific function when you bind it. After Hyuga Hayashi took it, Inazheim gave one to Hinata's mother next to Hyuga Hayashi. There was also one for the cute little Hanabi standing behind them. The other Hyuga clan members were left aside. Hyuga Hayashi took the identity card and looked at it over and over. Just drip my blood on it? Inazheim nodded politely and said, yes. Hyuga Hayashi pondered for a moment, and was about to do it. At this time, someone from the Hyuga clan next to him asked, "Patriarch, let me do it. Just in case." Hyuga Hayashi hesitated and looked at Inazheim. Inazheim took out another card and said, "If you want to test it, you can use this one. The authority of the two identity cards is different." Hyuga Hayashi raised his eyebrows and compared the two cards. The two cards were similar in appearance, except that one had 1 star on it and the other had 3 stars on it. There was no difference. Is it a high-end product in my hand? Being treated with respect made Hyuga Hayashi feel a little better. No, just drip a drop of blood. With that said, he flicked his finger and dripped a drop of blood on the identity card. The system prompt sounded. After experiencing a series of bizarre beginner tutorials, Hyuga Hayashi's face showed the shock of every first contact with the system. "This thing is amazing, amazing," Hyuga Hayashi muttered to himself. Then he added Naruto as a friend according to the system prompt. Then he clicked on the video call. Suddenly, looking at the prompt in the call request, Hyuga Hayashi's heart was a little nervous. Hyuga Hayashi took a deep breath. He comforted himself. "Hinata's father in the bedroom. Why should I be nervous? It should be that kid who should be nervous. You actually snatched my precious daughter away without saying a word. Hinata is also at fault for this matter. She didn't say a word to them. In fact, Hinata was wrong about this." As early as when their consciousness was in the virtual reality world, Hinata told them. But now, Hyuga Hayashi didn't realize that the experience in the virtual reality world was not a dream. The video call was connected. Naruto's image was projected in front of Hyuga Hayashi's eyes. "Hello, father-in-law." Naruto was very enthusiastic, and the father-in-law was particularly affectionate and shameless. Hyuga Hayashi's face darkened and he scolded. "Who are you calling father-in-law? I haven't agreed to this marriage yet." Hyuga Hayashi was not used to communicating with the system for the first time. This sentence was directly scolded out of his mouth. This made the other people a little inexplicable. After all, only Hyuga Hayashi could see Naruto. Hinata's mother asked nervously, "What happened?" Hyuga Hayashi in the real world was taken aback. "You can't see that brat?" Hyuga Hayashi pointed to Naruto in front of him. Inuji on the side reminded, "This is an internal call. Only people who are bound to their identity cards can see it." Then under Inuji's guidance, Hinata's mother also bound her identity card. Then the video call was connected. Hinata's mother also saw Naruto. Naruto smiled brightly. "Hello, mother-in-law." Hinata's mother was not as cold as Hyuga Hayashi. She wasn't so angry. She smiled politely and asked, "Are you Uzumaki Naruto?" Naruto nodded in acknowledgement. Hinata's mother was a little absent-minded. "I didn't expect you to grow up and become more like Kushina. If she could see you, she would be very happy." Chapter 634. Kushina. Hearing this name, Naruto was silent. He has been worried about one thing for the past few days. He is going to get married soon. Will his parents attend? If they attend, Yandere Naruto has a way to resurrect him. But the ashes of his mother, Uzumaki Kushina, are still with Orochimaru. And Orochimaru is still missing. Naruto even suspected that Orochimaru is dead. But he couldn't resurrect Orochimaru with Edo Tensei. This proves that Orochimaru is still in this world. This is amazing. After fusing with the Jubi and becoming the Jubi human pillar force, he can be said to be a god at this time. However, he still couldn't find a small snake. Naruto quite admired Orochimaru's ability. In addition, Naruto has captured all the people around Orochimaru, including Yugo, Karen Red Lotus, and Yukimaru. But these people don't know the whereabouts of Orochimaru. Orochimaru seems to have really disappeared from the world. At the same time, Hayashi's expression was slightly absent-minded. Hayashi thought of Yandere Naruto. Yandere Naruto is a very outstanding person. In the turmoil of Nine Tails, that person saved everyone. The Hyuga clan also owes that person a favor. If it's that person's child, he won't refuse to marry Hinata. But without giving a betrothal gift, it doesn't make sense to do this without saying anything. "Naruto, don't you have anything to say about Hinata?" Hayashi's face eased slightly, and his tone was calm. Slowly, the aura of an elder hit his face. Naruto promised seriously. I will treat her sincerely. Hayashi's face darkened. That's not what he asked about. He wants a betrothal gift. It's respect. It's a traditional etiquette. As for treating Hinata sincerely, is there a need to guarantee this? This is a must, okay. How dare you not be sincere? Do you really think my Hyuga clan is a vegetarian? Believe it or not, I will. Hyuga Hayashi roared in his heart. But the embarrassing thing is, not long ago, the Hyuga clan was robbed of everything and moved out of the wood leaf without even knowing. Where's the betrothal gift? Hyuga Hayashi was very direct this time. You didn't give any betrothal gifts, and you didn't even go through me as an elder before you settled the matter. Do you still have me as an elder in your eyes? Naruto blinked and asked in confusion. Didn't Hinata tell you too? Wait a moment, I'll go get Hinata. Naruto went to call Hinata. Hinata's mother pulled her husband's hand to remind him. After all, from a mother's point of view, it was fine as long as Hinata liked it. In addition, Naruto wasn't bad either. Hayashi nodded slightly. They didn't say anything, but the tacit understanding between husband and wife had already told each other. What he meant was, don't worry, I'll handle it well. Soon Hinata was pulled in. The surrounding scenery changed, forming an independent chat room. Father, mother. Hinata saluted to the two of them. Hyuga Hayashi nodded slowly and said to Hinata, I'll deal with you later. You stay aside for now. Then he said to Naruto, why did you call Hinata here? Using Hinata as a shield? Naruto quickly explained, no father-in-law, don't misunderstand Before Naruto finished speaking, Hayashi interrupted directly. Don't call me father-in-law. I haven't agreed yet. Naruto quickly changed his words. Then I'll call you old Taishan. Hayashi was puzzled. What do you mean? Naruto explained. Taishan in the Snow Country refers to a very respected person. Hayashi nodded suspiciously and waved his hand. Don't talk about these useless things, let's talk about business. Old Taishan is a very respected person? There's nothing wrong with saying that. But the more accurate meaning is actually still father-in-law. Funny, Naruto replied. Okay, old Taishan, this is the case. I prepared the betrothal gift for Hinata, and I also asked Hinata to tell you. Hinata told me that you agreed, so I called Hinata. I hope there's no misunderstanding. Hayashi couldn't help but swear. Bullshit. When we woke up, we didn't see any of you two little things. Who told us about the betrothal gift? The betrothal gift is actually a small matter. This is a matter of attitude. Hinata quickly stood up. Father, you agreed. I went to see you a few days ago. Mother was also there. Didn't you and Mother both say that everything should be simple? Hayashi wanted to continue to argue. But Hinata's mother really remembered that matter. She hurriedly pulled Hayashi back. Hinata's mother asked. Hinata, you wouldn't say that, when we were sleeping, right? That wasn't a dream? Did you really come? Hinata pulled up the video record. She explained. It's not wrong to say it's a dream, more accurately, it's a virtual reality world. Just like where we are now. This is a temporary virtual reality space, it's fake, but it's also real. Then the previous experience in the sleep wasn't a dream? Hyuga Hayashi remembered. Hinata did talk to them about the marriage. This is awkward. Naruto saw that the two understood. He took Hinata's hand and promised. I promise you here that after Hinata marries me, I will spoil her in every way and won't let her suffer a little. You can rest assured that I will take care of Hinata. Hyuga Hayashi was still very upset. His daughter ran away from home without a word, and she had been gone for 3 years. After 3 years, he finally saw his daughter, and his daughter was going to get married. What kind of mood is this? What a F***king mood. I don't agree with your matter. That's it, how can I withdraw from this thing? As soon as Hayashi said this, Hinata's mother's eyes widened. Didn't you say that you can control the scale? Why did you suddenly flip the table? Did I misunderstand just now? Is the tacit understanding between us husband and wife gone? Hayashi chose to hang up the phone. Hinata's mother quickly explained. Don't worry, he probably can't accept it for a while. I will talk to him again. Naruto quickly thanked. Thank you, mother-in-law. Hinata's mother smiled and promised, "Hey, I accept you as my eldest son. You must treat Hinata well in the future." Naruto quickly promised again. "Hinata married me, the world is hers, I will treat her well." Hinata's mother nodded with relief. "I will go and see what the old man is up to. Also, come and meet us in person as soon as possible. Although this thing is convenient, it is not intimate enough." Hinata's mother hung up the video call. Hayashi was about to ask. Hayashi's face darkened. "I want to be alone, it's irritating." Hinata's mother didn't say much, just said, "This daughter will marry sooner or later. Naruto is a good child." Hyuga Hayashi replied, "Let me figure out the matter of Konoha first." Hayashi's thought came up. The system pulled up the information. It was very detailed information. There was information about the Wood Leaf's time, and the Wood Leaf's destruction. After reading the information, Hayashi found Naruto. "Tell me, why wasn't our clan present when Kyomogakure invaded the Wood Leaf?" Chapter 635. Why wasn't the Hyuga clan present when Wood Leaf was breached? This question is really not easy to answer. Because, looking at the serious face of his future father-in-law, Naruto hesitated for a moment. Originally, he prepared a lot of excuses that could be used to fool him. But now, is it not good to fool his future father-in-law? What if he doesn't respect him? Do you want to hear the truth or a lie? Hyuga Hayashi's facial muscles twitched, and his expression became more stiff and serious. "Of course the truth." Naruto replied, "Because you are Hinata's father, and I don't want Hinata to be fatherless at such a young age." It was a very simple and direct answer, even a little choking. After Hayashi heard it, he was so angry that the veins on his face jumped. He questioned, "You mean, even if the Hyuga clan was present, they couldn't change the battle, and would only increase the casualties?" Naruto nodded and answered the question. The atmosphere was deadlocked at this moment. After a long time, Hayashi continued to ask, "Then, what role did you play in that battle?" Naruto didn't hesitate and replied, "A bystander." Hayashi continued to ask, "Wood Leaf was breached. You were born in Wood Leaf, and you just watched it be destroyed?" Naruto replied, "Why not? Wood Leaf, for me, has never been a place where I feel a sense of belonging. I'm just a human pillar force that's being used. The kind that's being used until death. Can you imagine the feeling of having a Wood Leaf subsidy in your pocket, but when you go to a restaurant to eat, no one is willing to sell to you? Can you feel that no matter where you go, people are pointing at you and saying that you shouldn't play with him because he's the child of the demon fox?" Hayashi was silent. Naruto continued, "I know, this has something to do with the death of Sandame's wife. Sandame's wife died when she delivered me. So he should still have resentment towards me in the deepest part of his heart. This resentment caused him to intentionally avoid me and not pay attention to me, in order to suppress the urge to destroy me hidden in the deepest part of his heart." Hyuga Hayashi interrupted, "Sandame Naruto. Sama is not such a person." Naruto smiled and waved his hand. "Everyone has the dark side of human nature. The only ones who can suppress it are those who are kind. I can't deny that I'm already grateful that Naruto 3 didn't remove the 9 tails from my body and replace it with a human pillar force. But I also have a reason not to attack, don't I?" Hyuga Hayashi frowned. "Naruto, you should know that you are the descendant of a ninja, and you are the son of the 4th daimyo Naruto-sama." Naruto knew what Hayashi wanted to say. He shook his head. "Ninja, in my opinion, is the stupidest profession. Ninjas are just pawns that can be sacrificed at any time. As for honor, it's even more nonsense. Isn't the honor that the 4th Naruto sacrificed for the village great enough? But what did he get in return? It's just a slightly better graveyard. I don't agree with such a profession, I don't agree with such honor, and I don't agree with such a social system." "Well, I've said too much, sorry." Hyuga Hayashi looked at Naruto for a long time without speaking. He said, "The stronger a person's personal strength is, the greater the ambition in his heart will grow, and it will bring greater disasters to the world. You destroyed the order built by the first Naruto-sama. And then? Let ninjas with power do whatever they want. That way the world will only fall into greater chaos. Naruto smiled. He replied, "You haven't had a good time in the snow country yet, right? My wedding with Hinata is still early. During this time, father-in-law can have a good time in the snow country. In the snow country, chakra is not the yardstick to judge a person's social status. What judges a person's social status is their contribution to society. This system has existed in the snow country for 3 years, and it's very successful. I also intend to implement this system all over the world." Hyuga Hayashi's frown deepened. Naruto's words surprised him a little. Originally, he thought that the social system established by Naruto was based on people with chakra as the main body, and ordinary people were enslaved. But even if that wasn't the case, Naruto's idea made him feel ridiculous. Your system won't last long. In the fact that ordinary people don't have power, putting people with chakra together with them, equality can't exist. You're just relying on your personal strength. Naruto, it's good for a person to have confidence in their own strength, but blind confidence will only make you stupid. Naruto. To some extent, Naruto agreed with the words of his future father-in-law. So he gave ordinary people the strength to protect themselves. For example, the identity card's defense system, alarm system, and perfect legal system. There are also simple civilian armor that ordinary people can use. Hyuga Hayashi continued, "However, you're still young, and it's understandable to make this kind of mistake." Seeing Naruto's indifferent face, Hyuga Hayashi continued, "If you don't admit your mistake, let me see if you have this kind of tolerance." See if he has this kind of tolerance? Naruto asked how. Hyuga Hayashi replied very domineeringly, "Defeat me with your own strength." Naruto. Naruto was stunned. Not because it's too difficult, but it's too easy, okay? As the human pillar force of the Jubi, his strength is already comparable to Hagoromo Sennin. Fight with Hyuga Hayashi? Wouldn't that be too much? Naruto didn't know if he should agree or not. If Hinata found out about this, he would beat up her father. Even if Hinata had a good temper, she would be unhappy, right? If she didn't let him sleep with her because of this, it would be a big loss. It has to be said that Naruto, who was quick-witted, thought long-term. Naruto didn't answer, and Hyuga Hayashi suddenly thought of something. He asked, "By the way, what method did you use to take the Hyuga clan out of Woodleaf?" Naruto replied honestly, "I drugged you, and then took you out when Woodleaf wasn't paying attention." Drugged? Hyuga Hayashi's expression froze. The entire Hyuga clan was drugged and taken away. This is the biggest shame since the existence of the Hyuga clan. But if the truth is like this, Hyuga Hayashi's heart was relieved. This shows that Naruto's own strength may not be very strong. He still has a chance to educate his future son-in-law. Hyuga Hayashi took a deep breath. "I won't mention the past. It's my fault that the Hyuga clan was drugged. I was not careful enough as the patriarch. If you want to marry Hinata, then I have no other requirements, just one, defeat me. Do you agree?" Naruto hesitated. "That, father-in-law, can I make a condition?" Hyuga Hayashi said solemnly, "Don't call me father-in-law. If you want to marry Hinata, defeat me first." After teaching Naruto a lesson, he paused. "Say it, what are your conditions?" Naruto said with a guilty conscience, "That, can this matter be known only to the two of us? I don't want Hinata to know about this." Hyuga Hayashi stared at Naruto for a while with an unhappy expression. This kid is too proud, he's afraid of making a fool of himself in front of Hinata. How can he be relieved when his daughter is with such a person? "Okay, I agree." Although he answered like this, Hyuga Hayashi was thinking that he must teach this kid a lesson when the time comes. Chapter 636. Hyuga Hayashi finally agreed to Naruto and Hinata's wedding. No one knows what happened in the middle except for the two parties. A battle started silently and ended silently. After that, Hyuga Hayashi went to the snow country to experience the local customs under Naruto's suggestion. By the way, Naruto revealed the location of Kakashi's new home. On the other side, after Naruto dealt with his future father-in-law, he began to search for Orochimaru's whereabouts. He wanted to find Uzumaki Kushina's ashes. However, Orochimaru was really difficult to find. After using all the conditions, he still had no clue. In this regard, Naruto didn't have any temper. Girl, have you learned the space trap I taught you? Minggu Empire, Royal Courtyard. Naruto asked Scale about her homework. Scale shot the kunai in her hand at Naruto. The kunai flew halfway and suddenly disappeared. It was successfully stored in a different space. Naruto raised his hand and grabbed. The space distorted, and the kunai appeared again. The space trap was removed. Naruto praised, "Very good. Your talent is much better than that guy Obito. But you can't be complacent. You have to continue to practice. When you can move the location of the space trap according to your mind, you will truly master this trick." Scale nodded obediently. Not long after, Obito also came. The space vortex rotated, and Obito was teleported from other places. When Naruto saw Obito, he asked, "How is it? Is there any news about Orochimaru?" Obito shook his head helplessly. Naruto's face was not very good. "There are only 2 months left, and I will get married in 2 months, Obito suggested. "Why are you in such a hurry? Why don't you postpone the wedding date?" Naruto sighed. "I don't want to be in a hurry, but time waits for no man." Obito shrugged. He really didn't know what Naruto was anxious about. But seeing that Naruto didn't say anything, he didn't ask. After thinking for a while, he replied, "I'll go look for him later." After the underground trading house was integrated into the Empire's system, the efficiency of doing things has increased again. As long as he's still alive, there's no way he can avoid everyone's attention. Was it impossible? Naruto was sure that at this time, Orochimaru was definitely not a corpse anymore. After changing bodies, how could it be easy to find her? Unless Orochimaru took the initiative to jump out. Let him jump out by himself? Naruto's eyes lit up and said to Obito, "Send out a notice. As long as he is willing to return the ashes, I can let bygones be bygones." Obito froze for a moment, then nodded. He quickly passed down the order. After that, the two of them watched Lin Fan cultivate. "Kakashi is getting married. Have you prepared a gift?" Naruto asked. Obito said smugly, "Gift? If I go to his wedding, wouldn't that be giving him the greatest face?" Naruto said with annoyance, "If you have so much face, then if I go, won't Kakashi have to give me change?" Obito smirked. "You can try." Naruto rolled his eyes. "Try? Try my ass." Naruto was sure that if he really did so, then the relationship that had just eased a little will definitely collapse again. "Naruto, when are you going to resurrect Yandame-sama Naruto?" Yandame-sama Naruto was Obito's teacher. After his memory was rewritten, Obito dreamed of his teacher more than once. Naruto replied, "Wait until I find Orochimaru. If I can't find Orochimaru, I can't resurrect my mother, and Yandame-sama Naruto won't be resurrected." Obito's eyes widened when he heard this. He stared at Naruto as if he was looking at an unworthy descendant. Naruto glanced at Obito and said unhappily, "Why are you looking at me like that?" "I'm doing this for his own good. Is there anything sadder than the death of your beloved, but you're still alive?" Obito thought about it thoughtfully and felt that it was reasonable, so he nodded again. "Then it looks like, if I want to see Sensei, I have to find Sensei first." Naruto nodded helplessly. At this time, Naruto suddenly remembered that there was still one place that he hadn't looked. That was the Ryuchi Cave. "Do you think Orochimaru will always be in the Ryuchi Cave?" Obito thought about it and replied, "It's possible, but no one in this world knows the specific location of the 3 Holy Lands. Those who were invited to the 3 Holy Lands were summoned by reverse summoning. If you want to go, you can ask Tsunade or Jiraiya." Naruto thought about it and called Tsunade. "What's the matter?" Tsunade's voice was full of laziness. Naruto told Tsunade his thoughts. Tsunade shook her head. "I can communicate with Katsuyu Sannin to let you go to Shikatsu Forest, but Ryuchi Cave, I can't. But Katsuyu Sannin definitely knows where the Ryuchi Cave is. You can ask her when the time comes. I just don't know if she'll be willing to tell you. By the way, I have an idea to make Katsuyu Sannin friendlier to you. Do you want to know?" Naruto asked foolishly, "What?" Tsunade immediately replied, "If you learn the Ein seal and condense a purple mark on your forehead, Katsuyu Sannin will know that you're my disciple. Let me tell you, my relationship with Katsuyu is pretty good. Naruto rolled his eyes after hearing this. She really didn't forget to urge him to cultivate no matter what the situation was. For her to mention it at this time, he was convinced. Tsunade continued. Sakura has already surpassed you and condensed the Ein seal. As her son Nin, you're too embarrassing. Naruto looked at her disdainfully. So what if she condenses it? She condenses the Ein seal. Even if she can use the Hyaku Jutsu, I can beat 10 of her by myself. Tsunade was angry when she heard this. She said in exasperation. Are you saying that you don't like my ninjutsu? Naruto hurriedly admitted defeat. After coaxing her for a long time, and promising to continue cultivating the Ein seal, she finally let the matter go. As for looking for Katsuyu's son Nin, Tsunade rejected him because she hadn't learned the Ein seal yet. This made Naruto so angry that he almost slapped himself in the face. He blamed himself for talking back to this great aunt for nothing. Women were born to be petty, even if this woman was his son Nin. There were even some who were even more extreme. After hanging up the call with Tsunade, the only person he could find now was Jiraiya. But Naruto didn't want to go to Mount Mayaboku, and he didn't want to see the Great Toad's son Nin, because the Great Toad's son Nin had a deep relationship with the Rakuto's son Nin. Naruto didn't notice that just as he and Obito were talking about Orochimaru, the expression in Scale's eyes flickered. The pupils in his eyes narrowed a little, as if they were squeezed together into a slit. I'm leaving, you guys continue to cultivate. Naruto patted his butt and stood up from the stone platform. After taking a few steps, he turned back and said, by the way, today is the 15th of August. The moon will be full tonight. You can take Scale with you to admire the moon. After saying that, Naruto left. Tonight, he was going to admire the moon with Hinata. Chapter 637. At night, Mingdu Empire, on the stargazing tower, Naruto held Hinata and admired the moon. The moon is so beautiful. I have never seen the moon like this before. Hinata was very happy. The blue moon was so graceful and luxurious against the starry sky. Naruto put his chin on Hinata's shoulder, his face close to Hinata's face, and said softly, do you like it? If you like it, Tian will accompany you to watch the moon in the future, okay? Tian will accompany her to watch the moon? Hinata's heart was charmed. This is not good. Mingdu Empire has just been established, there are still a lot of things to be done, right? Naruto replied indifferently. It's all a small matter, I can deal with it with my clone. Besides, isn't there still Tobirama to do odd jobs for me? That guy used to be Naruto, and he is quite good at many things. Hinata said with a little guilty conscience. This is not good, right? Won't Tobirama-sensei work too hard? Naruto replied with a guilty conscience. It can't be, his Edo-tensei body should be fine even if he doesn't rest. Hinata asked even more guiltily. Really? Naruto thought for a while and replied. Yakushido is doing research 24 hours a day, and he is still very lively, so it shouldn't be wrong. Hearing this, Hinata nodded with relief. Then, Naruto-kun, after Tobirama-sensei attends our wedding, will he leave this world? Hinata's face suddenly became sad. Naruto thought of Tobirama's resignation. After the establishment of the Mingdu Empire, Tobirama proposed to refuse the Edo-tensei reincarnation again, and leave the world. However, Naruto rejected it on the grounds that he was going to get married. Well, that guy doesn't want to be reincarnated again. Hinata's face was full of worry. Although I also think that Edo-tensei is not a good method, I still feel sad when I think that Tobirama-sensei is leaving. Naruto gently stroked Hinata's head. Then, Naruto-kun, will we also leave this world one day? Naruto thought about it and replied. Perhaps there will be such a day, but for us, that day will be much longer than for others. I have enough time to show you the sights of this world. Hinata raised her head and looked at Naruto. Their eyes met, and she could feel the calmness in Naruto's eyes. The fear of death in Hinata's heart gradually subsided. He smiled and said, Naruto-kun, I feel that your eyes were even more beautiful in the past. Naruto stared blankly for a moment before breaking into laughter. Really? Hinata nodded cutely. Naruto scratched Hinata's nose. Then when we get married I will change my eyes back. But there is one thing. A man should be praised as handsome, and a woman is beautiful. Hinata stuck out her tongue mischievously and said with a smile. But it's really beautiful. Naruto-kun is more beautiful than me in every way. His hair is prettier than mine, his nose is prettier than mine. Naruto was angry. He already said that beautiful is used to describe girls, but this girl didn't restrain herself, and instead became even more serious. This is a blatant provocation. Naruto raised his hand that was hugging Hinata's waist, the itching skill was maxed out, and he entered the crazy itching mode. For a moment, there was a string of bell-like laughter on the stargazing tower. There was also Naruto's strange laughter. After a long while, under Hinata's repeated begging for mercy, this childish battle finally ended. Naruto summoned a rattan chair from the system storage space. Lying down with Hinata in his arms and admiring the moon, Hinata lay on Naruto's chest like a little bird. She drew circles on Naruto's chest. It was quite itchy, but there was a soft and numb feeling where Hinata's fingers were removed. It was also very comfortable. Then, Naruto-kun, I have an idea. Hinata continued to draw circles. Naruto was combing Hinata's hair. If others saw them like this, they would definitely think of the aftermath. But in fact they were really pure, nothing had happened just now. Naruto replied lazily. What are you thinking of now? Hinata's fingers stopped drawing circles. She looked up at Naruto and said seriously, It's not a trick, it's a very serious matter. Hearing that it was a very serious matter, Naruto perked up and said seriously, Oh, what is it? Hinata also looked serious. It's about our wedding. Hearing about the wedding, Naruto became even more serious. Naruto also attached great importance to the wedding. Say it, I'm listening. Hinata said seriously, Naruto-kun, can we wear your clothes on the wedding day? Naruto didn't understand what he was talking about. But when he saw the smile on Hinata's face, he instantly understood. You want me to wear your clothes? Naruto's little face was dark. Hinata held back her laughter and said seriously, Because I think Naruto-kun is prettier than me. If you wear the wedding dress, you will definitely be prettier than me. This girl, he had to train her well. You want me, the monarch, to wear a wedding dress in front of everyone. If I wear it, believe it or not, there will be a bunch of people impeaching me the next day. All kinds of muddle-headed and frivolous hats will be put on my head. Hinata was scared when she heard that and instantly cowered. Is it that serious? I'm just... Hinata was about to admit her mistake, but she saw Naruto's smile. Naruto wasn't lecturing her, he was teasing her. Hinata swallowed all the words she wanted to say. She said proudly, I don't care, I'll let you wear the wedding dress. Naruto's hand grabbed Hinata's armpit and used his tickling ability. Hinata's counterattack was fruitless, and she begged for mercy again amidst her laughter. Their laughter spread far and wide. Although the Mingdu Empire was huge, there weren't many people living in it. Therefore it was still very spacious. Scale leaned on the bed with the window slightly open. The night wind blew into the room and lifted the curtains. At the same time, the sound from the balcony could be heard. How leisurely! Under the moonlight, Scale's face didn't have the usual innocent cuteness. There was a hint of mature indifference and coldness. On Scale's system interface, an announcement with Orochimaru's name was displayed. Announcement: Return Uzumaki Kushin as ashes, and let bygones be bygones. Otherwise, kill without mercy. This was an announcement made at Naruto's request. The announcement wasn't only in the system. It was posted on the bulletin board of every district and every town in the Mingdu Empire. Then should he return the ashes? Naruto and Obito's words during the day were still in his ears. Orochimaru could feel that Naruto seemed to be anxious to get the ashes. After thinking for a long time, Scale muttered to himself in a cold voice, I'm not afraid of that guy, I'm just thanking him for his guidance on space ninjutsu. Scale made a hand seal, and a white snake appeared in front of Orochimaru. Orochimaru raised his hand and pressed it on the snake's head, seemingly transmitting some information. Then the summoning technique was lifted. After doing this, Scale took a deep breath. He sighed. How strong is that guy now? The Jubi. Does such a thing really exist? Chapter 638. Orochimaru appeared. Early in the morning, Naruto received a good news. Where is he? Naruto located Obito and teleported directly to him. The news of Orochimaru was passed to him by Obito. He's gone, and before he left this. Obito gave a box to Naruto. Naruto's heart jumped. If this was an urn, then it was very likely that his mother was inside. Uzumaki Kushina. Naruto took a deep breath. She had never felt so nervous before. She carefully took the urn. Obito continued. Because you said that if you hand over the ashes, I will let bygones be bygones, so I didn't leave Orochimaru. Naruto stared at the urn in his hand and replied, well, you did a good job. With Orochimaru's character, it's hard to see his real body. If you do it, it's not worth it. I have something to do, I'll leave first, other things will be discussed later. Naruto came and went quickly, and in the blink of an eye, he disappeared. Only Obito was left with a complicated heart. Obito frowned. Why do I always feel like I've forgotten something important recently? Especially when I think of resurrection, I can't calm down. Do I have someone I want to resurrect? Well, it should be Minato-sensei. That feeling in the dark made him very annoyed. Or because of Madara. One of the tasks given to him by Madara was to resurrect him after getting the Rinnegan. How can I perform that kind of task? It's all because of you that Minato-sensei is in trouble. Naruto also became an orphan. Obito shook his head. Don't think about it, let's go see the girl. Yesterday she said she was not feeling well, and I don't know if she's better today. Manjikyu Sharingan opened. A vortex formed in the space around Obito's body. Space transmission. On the other side, Naruto directly teleported back to the dormitory. He contacted Gurney and said, bring a death row prisoner to my room. Then he added, a woman. Gurney could sense the seriousness in Naruto's tone, and accepted the mission without hesitation. Soon after, he brought a person over according to Naruto's request. After entering the room, he saw the layout of the room and the scroll that was unfurled on the ground. Edo-tensei, can't you just leave this to the system? Naruto replied, the person who is going to be resurrected this time is my mother. Alright, you can go out and guard the door. Don't let anyone come near. Gurney did not ask any more questions. He acknowledged the order and left. The person who was tied up calmly watched Naruto walk closer, then pulled off the high adhesive tape on her mouth. It hurt a little, and the corners of the woman's eyes twitched uncontrollably, but she still said stubbornly, no matter what you do to me, I won't give in. The woman's voice was hoarse. Her vocal cords must have been severely damaged. However, this wasn't a projection of Edo-tensei, so he didn't need to worry too much about it. After removing the tape from her mouth, Naruto sat on the chair and began to think. His heart was still filled with complicated emotions. From a certain point of view, the fourth-generation couple wasn't his parents, but they were the parents of the body he was currently using. The complicated emotions that came from being connected by blood made him want to meet his parents. I hope my mother won't nag too much. Naruto took a deep breath. He made his final decision. The scroll unfurled. Runes spread from the scroll and enveloped the prisoner as a sacrifice. I'll give you a choice, surrender, or die. Naruto looked at the woman inside the formation. The woman opened her eyes wide. Naruto already knew the result. Without waiting for her to say anything, he activated Edo-tensei. Your loyalty is admirable. Rest in peace. The woman's body froze. In her eyes, a huge golden sword was slashing towards her. It was a sword strike that caused people to be terrified. As the sword swung down, she lost all sense of her body. She felt empty. It wasn't death, but an indescribable feeling that she had never felt before. It was as if she had suddenly lost the most important thing to her. She saw her body blankly falling down. Her body lightly floated upwards. She saw the enemy she wanted to assassinate and spoke to her. Your loyalty is admirable. Rest in peace. That person looked at her as she floated up and said those words. Is this respect for me? But what's the use of this respect if I'm about to die? The mission failed. Her body continued to float upwards like a puff of smoke. At first, it condensed, then dissipated. It's over. What a terrible mission. The woman closed her eyes. The Edo Tensei continued. In Naruto's eyes, the outline of a woman slowly formed. He had seen this woman before. She was inside his body, when the Nine-Tails seal was completely undone. But before she could say anything, she was swallowed by preserved egg. The vortex sucked Kushina's soul into the vessel. Pieces of ash drifted from the void of space and landed on the surface of the vessel. Soon, a new face replaced the original owner's appearance. The prison uniform she was wearing was also replaced by Woodleaf's old-fashioned clothes from many years ago. The clothes were changing, as if she was looking for a favorite set to wear. The final shape. The vortex Kushina frowned and was about to open her eyes. Naruto suddenly took out a talisman from his hand. This was a talisman that stripped the Edo Tensei of their intelligence, used to completely control them. In the past, Naruto rarely used it. Today he used it because he didn't know how to face his mother. Naruto took a deep breath, then exhaled. It seems there's no problem with the ashes. Then, let's just directly revive her. Naruto used the system and took out a coffin. The coffin opened, revealing the fourth Naruto lying inside. The Rinnegan connected the souls of the two bodies. Then a mysterious force locked onto his soul. Naruto's hair stood on end. An unprecedented sense of crisis struck him. His intuition of danger at the time. If he used that ninjutsu, his soul would be used as a bargaining chip for an equal exchange. It seems that this technique doesn't only require chakra. Naruto stopped casting. That feeling also disappeared. Naruto touched his head. He was sweating. Do I have to sacrifice a life to revive the dead? I wonder if I can modify this technique as well. For example, transferring the sacrifice from himself to someone else. Just like the Edo Tensei. If that's the case, I'll need an external sacrifice technique. Modifying the outer path of reincarnation. This couldn't be done by others because the inner path of reincarnation came with the Rinnegan. But for Naruto, he could think of an external device. Mental network. Naruto found Tobirama. Tobirama, are you busy right now? Tobirama's expression darkened as he replied. I'm busy. Naruto didn't listen at all. If you're not busy, then come to me. I want to modify a ninjutsu that requires the core theory of the Edo Tensei. Chapter 639. Rest in Peace. Rinnegan Dojutsu was triggered. Outer Path Reincarnation Heavenly Technique. Naruto made a seal with his hand. The scroll unfolded flat, and the ink line spread out from the scroll, encircling the bodies of the two prisoners in the array. Sacrifice. The sacrifice array was launched, and the creepy feeling of facing the crisis of life and death disappeared. But the bodies of the two prisoners began to dry up visibly. The scream of horror was full of hysteria. It was a desire for life. Naruto watched all this inside. Rest in peace. Who told you not to grasp the opportunity when there was one? The bodies of the fourth generation Naruto couple lit up, and the ashes of the Edo Tensei were constantly burning away. Rinnegan began to frantically devour chakra. Naruto watched the flesh and blood of the fourth generation Naruto couple begin to rebuild. Tobirama, are you not going to resurrect? Naruto looked at Senju Tobirama, who was standing on the side. Tobirama shook his head. No, I have sinned enough. Naruto nodded and didn't persuade anymore. Tobirama suddenly said, Naruto, this kind of ninjutsu, you should use it less in the future. Naruto smiled and said, I don't care if you want to talk about sins, I have already sinned deeply. Tobirama suddenly smiled and said, if the sin can be shared, then the sin of resurrecting me will be borne by me. Naruto glanced at Tobirama and gave him a blank look. You will bear your own? Isn't that too stingy? It's a drop in the bucket for me. When the two were joking with each other, the physical reconstruction of the fourth generation couple was completed. When the two people's lungs contracted and began to inhale the first breath of air, Naruto knew that it was successful. Is it a sin to resurrect people like this? If it's a sin, it's good. In contrast, Naruto felt that for the Yondaime-sama couple, the biggest crime he committed was coming to this world. Because of his arrival, the past Naruto could be said to be dead. He snatched someone else's child, snatched their house, snatched their assets, and even snatched their daughter-in-law. He was truly guilty of the most heinous crimes. He was truly rotten to the core. Therefore, if there was a crime, he would carry it on his shoulders. Wouldn't that be fairer? Preserved egg. Can I still separate the things I devoured? In the space sealed by the ten-tailed beast, a string of words appeared on the surface of the giant white egg. Sure. Don't you have the death god's edge? You want to separate that guy from your body, don't you? I have an immature suggestion. You can separate that Naruto, then stuff that kid's soul into his mother's stomach. Of course, the prerequisite is that there is a fertilized egg in his mother's womb. That way, the kid can be reborn, and you can have a younger brother. Was that even possible? In the ten-tailed beast's sealed space, Naruto looked at the lines of scribbled words on the eggshell. His eyes lit up with hope. This method. It was highly feasible. Reliable. The Yondaime couple woke up. When they woke up, they saw each other. Uzumaki Kushina raised her hand and touched Namikaze Minato's face, whispering, I didn't expect to dream of you after death. Namikaze Minato looked at his wife intently, raised his body and touched her beautiful red hair. Kushina. The two looked at each other affectionately, and suddenly Namikaze Minato turned his head and looked at Naruto. And Tobirama. He began to be nervous, which was a habit of ninja, full of vigilance for potential danger. But when he saw Tobirama, he relaxed again. He sat up from the ground and greeted Tobirama. You wouldn't be the second Naruto, Tobirama Senju, right? I didn't expect to meet you after death. Then Kushina also looked at Tobirama and said with surprise, Wow, it's really the second Naruto. My husband is the fourth Naruto. Naruto looked at the couple with interest and replied, Well, it's me. Namikaze Minato heard his wife introduce him as the fourth Naruto, and scratched his head embarrassedly. I'm ashamed to say that I come here every few days. And this is... Namikaze Minato looked at Naruto. Naruto's long red hair was really conspicuous. It was redder than Uzumaki Kushina's hair. If Uzumaki Kushina's hair was as red as a pepper, then Naruto's hair was like a bleeding pepper. Naruto introduced himself. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. For a moment, the scene was silent. From the reaction of the Yondaime couple, Naruto saw that the two didn't have the memory sealed in his body in the form of chakra. This was understandable. After all, it was only chakra sealed in the 8 trigram seal. Just like the shadow clone, although it had some memories and even personality of the main body, it wasn't the real main body. You said your name is Uzumaki Naruto? Naruto's face didn't look good. Uzumaki Kushina burst into tears. Naruto, are you dead too? You look so young. Naruto knew that he couldn't keep up the act, and it was better to tell them the truth as soon as possible. Uzumaki Kushina ran over and hugged Naruto. She was sobbing uncontrollably. Naruto quickly explained. Mother. Don't cry. When Uzumaki Kushina heard Naruto call her mother, she cried even harder. Naruto directly said, I'm not dead yet. The crying stopped immediately. Naruto continued to explain. In fact, I resurrected you. The amount of information was too much, and Naruto and his wife were stunned. At this time, Naruto also noticed Naruto's eyes. As Naruto, he knew much more than ordinary people. Those circular eyes reminded him of a legend. The eyes of the Rakuto Sannin, the Rinnegan. In fact, when Naruto saw Naruto for the first time, he noticed these eyes. But later, when he heard Naruto's self-introduction, he was interrupted halfway through his thoughts. My son is not dead. My son resurrected me? The first to recover was Uzumaki Kushina. She raised her hand and touched her face. The tears on her face were so real, and the temperature on her face, and the touch. Then she hugged Naruto in her arms again. Wow. Is this true? You're really my son. My son is too awesome. Naruto looked at the happy face of Uzumaki Kushina. This cheap mother didn't seem to blame him. Naruto, you've grown so big, it's so good. Let mom look at you again. Your hair is like mine, so good. You're really my son. Tell mom, do you have a girlfriend now? Naruto was completely ignored. Naruto answered honestly, yes. You're getting married next month. Uzumaki Kushina repeated. Getting married next month? Doesn't that mean I can catch up with my son's wedding? That's great. Chapter 640. Then, can you let mom see your girlfriend too? Naruto nodded and agreed. I'll call her. In the spiritual network, Naruto contacted Hinata and said, Hinata, come to my room. Hinata didn't say anything and came over. Then she was stunned when she saw Ming-Ma. Mom, this is my fiancé Hinata. Hinata, this is my mother. Uzumaki Kushina began to look at Hinata from the perspective of a mother-in-law. Hinata was stunned. Mother? This is Naruto's mother? Is she meeting his parents? Hinata panicked. The spiritual network has begun to blame Naruto. Why didn't you tell me? Naruto replied stupidly, say what? Hinata was angry and said angrily. I said I wanted to see your mother. I'm not ready. What if my future mother-in-law is not satisfied with something? Naruto comforted. No, my mother is very easy to get along with. Hinata was angry. Easy to get along with is with you, her son. You are her son, of course, you are easy to get along with. But I am her daughter-in-law. Hinata braced herself and bowed respectfully. Hello, auntie. Is that how you address her? Please point it out if I'm wrong. Uzumaki Kushina greeted Hinata, helped her up and praised. You are so beautiful. Are you from the Hyuga clan? Do your elders agree to this marriage? Without waiting for Hinata to answer, Uzumaki Kushina continued. It doesn't matter if they don't agree. I agree. If anyone disagrees, I will beat them all. Don't worry, even if I can't beat them, I can let the child's father do it. Saying that, she gave a look to Minato, who had been ignored for a long time. Minato's old face was dark. Is this how you talk to your daughter-in-law? Are you from the underworld? I, the fourth generation Naruto, actually married a gangster. That. You guys can chat. Minato was embarrassed. Hinata quivered. Naruto's father was also here? He immediately saluted Minato. Hello, uncle. After greeting each other, Uzumaki Kushina pulled Hinata away to chat. Minato finally had the opportunity to talk to Naruto. Ah. I never thought that I would be able to see my son with my own eyes. You don't hate your father, do you? Naruto replied. Are you referring to Nine Tails? I hated it when I was young, but I got used to it when I grew up. Minato nodded. How is Nine-Tailed doing now? After Minato's resurrection, he could feel that the other half of Nine Tails was not in his body. Naruto pointed to his body. He's already in my body. Do you want to see him? Minato shook his head. I don't want to see him. That guy should hate me. Naruto didn't know why, but he still said it when he didn't need to. Nine Tails, he has now merged with other Bijou. Now it should be called Otsutsuki Kagaya. Naruto didn't say Jubi. In the sealed space of Jubi, Otsutsuki Kagaya glanced outside the seal. Otsutsuki Kagaya's seal was somewhat similar to the seal of Nine Tails in the past. It was a huge cage. However, outside Otsutsuki Kagaya's cage, there was a long string of prayer beads wrapped around the iron gate. Minato wondered, Otsutsuki Kagaya? That's its name? Naruto nodded. Minato nodded and didn't ask any more. The two were silent for a long time. Minato scratched the back of his head embarrassedly. He blamed himself. I had something to say, but suddenly I can't say it. Your father is stupid enough. By the way, resurrecting us, will it also cause you a lot of damage? Naruto didn't hide it and pointed to the two corpses on the ground that hadn't been dealt with yet. The power to resurrect the dead is the power of these eyes. Originally, I needed to sacrifice my life, but I let them do it instead. These people are people who came to assassinate me. Minato looked at the corpses on the ground. He took a deep breath. In any case, although they are enemies, we should thank them and give them a proper burial. Do they still have family? If you can. Naruto agreed. Okay, there are still family members. Since they were originally implicated, let's pardon them. Hearing Naruto's words, Minato nodded with satisfaction. He asked again, Are you Naruto of Woodleaf now? Speaking of Naruto, Minato looked at Naruto. Naidame Hokage stood there quietly after his initial reply. Naruto replied, "No. Wood Leaf is destroyed, and I unified the 5 major countries including other small countries." Hearing this, Uzumaki Kushina, who was chatting with Hinata, suddenly stopped. Although she was chatting with Hinata, she had been paying attention to her son. Wood Leaf was destroyed. The 5 major countries were unified? That's a lot of information. Naruto, are you a daimyo now? Or unique in the whole world? Uzumaki Kushina came over again. Naruto replied, "Well, yes, but not daimyo. I changed it to emperor. Well, it's more domineering." Uzumaki Kushina once again gave Naruto a big hug and praised, "You're my son. You're awesome. My son is now a supreme person. You're more promising than your father." Then he looked at Hinata and praised, "No wonder you can get a girl from the Hyuga clan. That clan rarely marries outsiders. Emperor. The emperor of the whole world." Minato looked at his son, who was a head taller than him. The voice in his heart came from the pride in his heart. As Naruto, he knew how difficult it was to be a leader. Moreover, Naruto was at a higher level. Very good. Minato also praised him. Then he said, "Then what about the original daimyo? Or the shadows of other villages?" Naruto thought about it, and took out a resident identity card of the Mingdu Empire. "Father, drip a drop of blood on it. Then you should be able to find out most of the things you want to know." He handed a card to Minato. Naruto gave another card to his mother Kushina. The Yondaime-sama couple didn't hesitate, and bound the card according to Naruto's instructions. The beginner's tutorial began. Minato was much calmer. Uzumaki Kushina didn't hold back at all. She made a big fuss to show her surprise. After the two learned how to operate the system, information about Wood Leaf, Naruto, the super brain system connected to the database sorted out all the information for the two elders to see. This information had a great impact on Minato. The destruction of Wood Leaf made him a little distressed. With his keen insight, he could naturally see that it didn't make sense. The most unreasonable thing was that the 5 major countries were destroyed too quickly. Looking at the records of the disappearance of the Biju, thinking about what Naruto said about the fusion of 9 Biju, his good son was among them. To tell the truth, he was very proud. Although the destruction of Wood Leaf was sad, as a father, his son's ultimate achievement made him proud. Minato continued to look at the information. Jiraiya-sensei, he's still single. Chapter 641. Is Jiraiya-sensei okay? Namikaze Minato looked at Naruto, and Uzumaki Kushina also looked at him. Naruto thought for a while and replied, "Not really, he's been worried about the Wood Leaf. Unfortunately, in the end, the Wood Leaf is gone. And as you can see, he's still single." He was still single. This was really a little sad. His son is about to get married and sensei is still single. Oh, why do I have the urge to laugh? Namikaze Minato suppressed this impulse. In front of his son, he felt that it was better to be dignified. "Right." Naruto suddenly said, "I caught the masked ninja who was good at space ninjutsu." As soon as this sentence was said, the atmosphere suddenly became heavy again. Uzumaki Kushina looked serious. "You mean, the one who attacked us when you were born?" Naruto nodded and said, "Yes." Uzumaki Kushina's chakra was uncontrollably violent. "Where is he? Is he still alive?" A murderous aura was coming. Naruto wants to give up Obito? Of course not. But since the Yondaime couple has been resurrected, as long as they see Obito again, they will definitely recognize him. So Naruto decided to take the initiative. First, he will bring up this matter, and then he will make a good lie to help Obito. This way, everyone will be happy, and it's better than fighting and killing. After all, the Yondaime couple has been resurrected. In that case, it would be good to let all the enmity vanish like smoke. The mastermind is dead. It's Uchiha Madara. But it's complicated. In short, Uchiha Madara's Sharingan broke, through from Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan to Rinnegan. Naruto pointed to his eyes and said, "It's my eyes now." Then he used Rinnegan to control Obito. He made Obito launch that attack. Uchiha Madara. Obito. Namikaze Minato's pupils shrank. He hesitated. Then the person who controlled Nine Tails to attack with Leaf is, Naruto replied. It's Obito who lost his will and was controlled by Uchiha Madara. Namikaze Minato took a breath. He muttered to himself. How? So in the Battle of Kanobi Bridge, Obito didn't die? Naruto replied. With Obito's injuries at that time, you can say he's dead. Uchiha Madara used Hashirama's cells to reconstruct half of Obito's body, so that he could survive. So, doesn't that mean that Uchiha Madara saved Obito? That teacher didn't save, he saved Obito, that person saved. So Minato took a deep breath. Now, how is he now? Is the S's and the S thus the S the this. The truth, the S he's outside the palace right now. He wants to meet you but he doesn't know how to face you. Obito is still alive. Hearing this, Minato's heart suddenly felt a lot more at ease. Kushina. Minato looked at Uzumaki Kushina. Uzumaki Kushina frowned and said, I know, do what you want. But you forgive that guy, that's your business. I can't forgive him, then she added. Forgiveness is not today, and it's not that simple. Anyway, don't let me see him now. Otherwise I'll beat him. Minato breathed a sigh of relief. There was a smile on his face. Then I'll go outside to see him. From Uzumaki Kushina's reaction, Minato knew that his wife didn't have much resentment. Spiritual network. Naruto contacted Obito. Did you take off your mask? Don't make things difficult for my parents. Obito quickly replied. I took it off long ago. Naruto was satisfied. That's good, I'll take your sensei to see you. As for your sensei's wife, she doesn't want to see you. Obito met with Namikaze Minato. Naruto also left. After all, if the master and apprentice wanted to talk, his presence would destroy the atmosphere. Naruto also didn't return to Kushina and Hinata. Right now he wanted to get some fresh air. Tobirama suddenly appeared behind Naruto. He laughed. I thought that person would be executed by you after you used him. Now it seems that you really intend to bury those things. The person Tobirama was referring to was Obito. Tobirama was one of the few people who knew that Obito had Koto Amatsukami. Naruto laughed at himself. Am I so bad? Tobirama laughed and said nothing. His face was full of, you don't know if you're bad or not. Seeing this, Naruto pulled a long face and rolled his eyes at Senju Tobirama. He said indignantly. For my own people, I'm as gentle as the spring breeze. Only against the enemy, I occasionally use the winter wind. The two looked at each other and suddenly laughed. After a while Naruto asked, You really don't want to resurrect? Tobirama shook his head and said, My mission has been completed, and there is nothing to do. Why should I be greedy for those decades? Naruto looked up and down at Tobirama and was full of curiosity. You are still single? Do you want to be single when you're buried? Tobirama's face turned black like a potato. He gritted his teeth and said, Naruto said, you can't beat me. Tobirama seemed to kick Naruto, but what Naruto said was also true. He really couldn't beat him. He couldn't beat him from very early on. This is helpless. Naruto continued to talk without thinking. That, you have never had a girlfriend. I'm thinking, are you interested in your sister-in-law? I'm not saying that casually. You're different from others when you talk to your sister-in-law. Tobirama kicked Naruto. Naruto's body blurred and easily dodged. This is similar to the ability of Obito's Mangekyo Sharingan. This ability was developed by Naruto himself after Ikiden swallowed Obito's Kamui dimension and nurtured the inner space. Are you angry out of humiliation? In fact, there is nothing to be embarrassed about. I guess you may be in a love triangle, but unfortunately, you are eliminated. Tobirama was angry. Don't talk nonsense. I just respect my brother and sister-in-law. Respect. Naruto shrugged. Okay. I have asked your brother and sister-in-law if she wants to resurrect, and she agreed very simply. Are you sure you don't want to stay and protect your sister-in-law? Tobirama was very decisive. I and my brother and sister-in-law are innocent. Naruto stared at Tobirama for a long time and smiled. I'm joking with you. Why are you so serious? I'm going to accompany my old mother and wife. Why don't you stay here and enjoy the breeze? Chapter 642. Yandame Naruto and his wife were resurrected. This news was quickly spread because Naruto didn't cover it up. Then the rumor that the Yandame couple was reincarnated by the Edo Tensei spread all over the city. There was also the fact that the Edo Tensei was an evil technique, and the sacrifice of living people was also revealed. For a while, the people were quite dissatisfied with Naruto. None of this matters. The important thing is, under Naruto's continuous investigation, the ones who spread this news turned out to be toads. The toads of Mount Mayaboku. They became people and lived in small towns in the countryside. This reminded Naruto of when Otsutsuki Kagaya was alive. Something similar seemed to have happened. The sealed space of Jubi. Naruto chatted with Otsutsuki Kagaya as usual. Toads are on your feet. Don't you think it's disgusting? Otsutsuki Kagaya ignored Naruto. She closed her eyes and slept. Naruto continued. They also instigated your two sons like this. Don't you want to take revenge on them? Otsutsuki Kagaya opened her eyes and glanced at Naruto. What do you want to do? Naruto replied. You must know where Mount Mayaboku is, right? Tell me, I'll catch a few toads and eat their thighs. Otsutsuki Kagaya said very irresponsibly. I forgot. Naruto was helpless. When Naruto's consciousness was about to withdraw from the sealed space, Otsutsuki Kagaya said, You haven't really integrated with my power yet. After opening the seal and completely integrating with me, you can find Mount Mayaboku. Do I have to do this? Naruto thought about it seriously and replied, It's troublesome, let them jump around for another month. After I get married, I'll take care of those toads. Otsutsuki Kagaya closed her eyes again, holding the side of her face with her right hand, and lowered her head as if she was asleep. Toads are causing trouble. So is it possible that it's Jiraiya? The possibility is almost zero, because the Yandame couple had seen Jiraiya before. Jiraiya knew very well that the Yandame couple was truly resurrected, not reincarnated in the Edo Tensei. This kind of lie, with Jiraiya's pride, disdains to do. Then what was the toad of Mount Mayaboku trying to do? Do you know? Emperor Ming used sorcery to revive his dead parents. It's said that the evil technique is called Edo reincarnation. In order to activate that technique, a living person has to be sacrificed. In front of Naruto, a toad was explaining the Edo Tensei with spittle flying everywhere. Naruto was not in a hurry. He sat in the tea house, ordered a pot of tea, and listened quietly. After the toad finished speaking, Naruto said, You're wrong. The Edo Tensei can't be considered a true resurrection. It's just summoning the consciousness of the dead back to the human world. Emperor Ming is using a technique that can truly revive the dead. That's an ability that only the Eye of Reincarnation has. The Eye of Reincarnation is also called the Eye of Rakuto Sannin. It can be said that it's the power left behind by Rakuto Sannin. Emperor Ming can use this power. Obviously, Rakuto Sannin approved it. The toad was stunned. Flustered and exasperated, he said, Nonsense. Naruto said calmly, How am I talking nonsense? I have some gossip. On the day of Emperor Ming's wedding, the Yandame couple will attend Emperor Ming's wedding. At that time, whether they are truly resurrected or not, people with discerning eyes will know at a glance. Because people who are reincarnated in the Edo Tensei have an unconcealable death aura. Also, according to my guess, the reason why the Yandame couple will be resurrected, it's very likely that they were specially allowed by Kami to come back to attend Emperor Ming's wedding. Look, on the day of Emperor Ming's ascension, didn't Kami give Emperor Ming a city? What is this called? This is a mandate from God. The little toad still wanted to argue with Naruto, but the people around all stood on Naruto's side. After all, everyone saw the miracle on the mirage that day. If the mirage was fake, then Emperor Ming's invitation couldn't be fake, right? That was an invitation that everyone had received. Moreover, many people said that they saw the city. Hence, the reason of Kami's reward was reliable and tenable. In the end, the little toad left in anger. On the same day, The Mingdu Empire issued an official statement. They announced that Kami had blessed them, that Rakuto Sanin had appeared to resurrect the Yondaime couple, and that the Yondaime couple would be allowed to attend Naruto's wedding. The Toad's public opinion was completely destroyed by Naruto's Six Paths theism. "O Rakuto Sanin, Naruto said that you helped him resurrect his parents." Otsutsuki Tonari was eating the tricolored meatballs he just bought from the shop while mocking Rakuto Sanin. "Also, you didn't release those toads, right?" Completely defeated. "The funniest thing is that I lost in your name." A circular mark appeared on Otsutsuki Tonari's hand. This was the Yang escape mark of the Yin-Yang escape. A spiritual connection was established. Otsutsuki Tonari was pulled into the spiritual world of Rakuto Sanin. "Rakuto Sanin. This matter has nothing to do with me." Otsutsuki Tonari was surprised. "You took the initiative to find me this time just to reply to me? I'm really flattered." Rakuto Sanin held his staff and floated above the water and replied, "I'm not looking for you today to explain toads to you. I want to remind you that my time in this world is not infinite. I hope you can make up your mind to reseal the Jubi as soon as possible. In addition, I've found a candidate for the other half of the mark. You just need to use the Yang attribute mark to cooperate with him." Otsutsuki Tonari raised his hand. In the spiritual world, there was no need to see with the naked eye. He stared at the Yang attribute mark on his hand. He said, "I don't need your gift to defeat that person easily." Rakuto Sanin replied, "If it's just the fallen Naruto, you can naturally defeat him with the power of Tensigen. But you have to deal with Otsutsuki Kagaya. Although I don't know why Mother hasn't occupied that body, as long as she wants, that kind of thing can be done at will." Otsutsuki Tonari continued to look at the mark on his hand. "Who is the other person?" Rakuto Sanin replied, "A person born for righteousness." Otsutsuki Tonari frowned. He asked again, "Is it the Uchiha clan that your son created? You helped him open the Rinnegan? You are really a great elder." Rakuto Sanin's figure faded. "You will know after you open the Tensigen." Rakuto Sanin disappeared. Otsutsuki Tonari rubbed his hand in disgust. But the mark of Yin-Yang release is not an oil pen of a naughty child. It can't be rubbed off. In the end, he could only sigh. "I'm fulfilling the mission of Otsutsuki Hamura-sama. Why do you always come out and tell me what to do? Do you think you're Sien? Can you leave your thoughts behind even after you die?" Sigh. "Why didn't my ancestor leave his thoughts behind? My poor ancestor. However, it's good that he didn't leave his thoughts behind. Otherwise, wouldn't I be annoyed to death with 2 flies buzzing in my ears?" Chapter 643. Cicadas were being roasted under the red sun. "Life! Life!" he shouted. Mingdu Empire, Imperial Garden. It was snowing, and it was exceptionally cool. The snowflakes drifted down, absorbing the summer heat, and then disappeared before falling to the ground. It was very dreamy. "Mom, you and Dad are still so young. Don't you plan to have another child?" Uzumaki Kushina was sitting on a swing, and Naruto was pushing it from behind. This was Hinata's favorite entertainment, but after she was resurrected, she dominated it. Uzumaki Kushina was enjoying her son's service while pondering. She asked, "Do you really want a younger brother, or are you afraid that another one will compete with you?" Naruto gently pushed the swing and replied, "If I really want a younger brother, having a younger brother at home would be lively." Uzumaki Kushina thought for a moment. She confirmed again, "Do you really think so?" Naruto replied with certainty, "Yes." Uzumaki Kushina nodded. "Well, I'll talk to your dad later, and then ask for another little thing." She agreed. "That's going well." Naruto was relieved. When Uzumaki Kushina is pregnant, he will separate Naruto from his body and let their family reunite. But Uzumaki Kushina suddenly hesitated. "Rather than having another son, I'd rather have a grandson. Naruto, you and Hinata have to work hard." Naruto was embarrassed and scratched his head. You're not married yet, isn't it too early to have a child?" Uzumaki Kushina continued. "You're getting married next month, why aren't you in a hurry?" At this time, Naruto received a report from She-Wolf. Master, Kakashi Hatake and Kazuma Hanazuki have registered their marriage. They just registered their marriage, and it seems that they don't intend to hold a wedding. Registered their marriage secretly? Not holding a wedding? The two of them were really open-minded. Naruto passed the news to Obito. Obito, your best friend has registered his marriage, but he doesn't plan to hold a wedding. Obito was even more excited than Naruto. No wedding? I'm still waiting for this day to shine. What's going on in that guy's head? Kakashi didn't know that Obito was still alive. Obito originally planned to give Kakashi a surprise at his wedding. Therefore, the current situation was a little awkward. No. Which girl didn't have a wedding before getting married? This year, when two dogs mate, they have to hold a ceremony. It's already hard enough for such a good girl to be with Kakashi. They can't not even have a wedding ceremony. Obito was very excited. Naruto was a little stunned. Were dogs so particular these days? Naruto, let's call the others and hold a wedding for that guy. Naruto was stunned. How are you going to force it? Obito whispered. What do you say let's set up the wedding ceremony, and then kidnap that guy? Kidnapping for marriage? Sounds like a good idea. But there's one thing we have to pay attention to. Hanazuki Fuma is pregnant. So try not to let her be frightened. Otherwise, it won't be good if the wedding is. The two of them chuckled as they completed their plan. They began to act. Of course, the wedding guests had to be people that Kakashi knew. For example, Jiraiya, Yondaime-sama couple, and Obito. Also, the original members of Team 7 would definitely be there. The only thing that made it difficult for Naruto was Metke. This guy was Kakashi's best friend. Woodleaf didn't die when he was defeated, and had been recuperating in his cell. Teleportation. Naruto appeared in the Mingdu Empire's prison. With a teleportation technique, he appeared outside Metkai's cell. He knocked on the door. How's your leg? Naruto greeted him as if he was an old friend. Metkai remained silent for a while before replying. Apart from Woodleaf, I won't join any other national organization. You should give up. Naruto sighed in his heart. After Woodleaf fell, many families weren't as stubborn as Metkai. No matter what the reason was, many of them joined other organizations. I didn't come here to ask you to join. I wanted to tell you that Kakashi Hatake isn't dead. The person inside hesitated for a moment. He lowered his voice and asked uncertainly, What did you say? Naruto replied, Kakashi Hatake isn't dead. He's alive and well, and he's about to get married. I'm here to send you an invitation. Are you coming? If you're not going, then pretend I never came. The person inside fell silent again. After a while, the person's voice trembled with excitement. I'll go. I have to go. As long as it's true, I'll go. Naruto raised his eyebrows. The negotiation process didn't seem to be as difficult as he thought it would be. Naruto teleported directly into Metkai's cell. Then something awkward happened. Metkai's face was red as he squatted on the toilet. The toilet door was open. Naruto, who came in, happened to meet Metkai's eyes. This posture was quite unique. Didn't you say you were in the toilet? Metkai said confidently. You didn't ask. Damn it, how could I ask? Who would ask you if you were in the toilet when they met? Ah. Naruto had an idea. He slammed the toilet door and roared. Then closed the door. How awkward. Just treat it as going to the men's toilet. And passing by a broken toilet that couldn't be closed, Naruto comforted himself. He urged, hurry up and finish. I'll take you out. Then the sound of someone holding their breath came from the toilet. Hearing this, Naruto felt bad. Especially when that guy shouted Ching-chun, when he was gathering his strength. 5 minutes later, Naruto finally succeeded in catching Metkai. Where are my students? Naruto thought for a moment and replied. Lee Lock seems to have gone deep into the mountains to cultivate. Hinata Ningji is with him. Tian Tian. You'll see her soon. Metkai said in surprise. Tian Tian? Tian Tian is still alive? Naruto replied. Yes, she's alive and well. Metkai asked. Did you save her? Naruto was very honest and corrected. No, to be precise, I captured her. Well, don't ask too much. You'll see that girl in a while. You can ask her yourself. Naruto put Mekkai into the inner world of preserved egg. Then he contacted Jiraiya and said, "We're going to hold a wedding for Kakashi. Do you want to participate?" Jiraiya knew that Kakashi was not dead after the founding of Mingdu. "Kakashi's wedding?" Naruto replied. "Well, I received news that guy just got a marriage certificate. But it seems that he doesn't intend to hold a wedding, so I'm going to give him a surprise as his student." Jiraiya hesitated and sighed. "Count me in. It's boring to stay here all the time." Jiraiya finished contacting him. Next was Sasuke. But Sasuke was not online. His avatar was gray. Where did that guy go? Naruto contacted Sakura Haruno again. "Where's Sasuke?" Sakura Haruno was surprised. "He's not with you?" Naruto wondered. "Why, he said he's here? Is this guy having an affair and using me as a cover? Sakura, you have to be careful." Sakura Haruno did not doubt this, but said very seriously, "Naruto, I suddenly have a bad feeling. Something is going to happen to Sasuke." Naruto's heart skipped a beat. Chapter 644. Sasuke is missing. The moment Sakura said that she had a bad premonition, Naruto felt a chill in his heart. He also had the same feeling. What can happen? You should dress up and get ready to attend Kakashi-sensei's wedding. Leave it to me to contact Sasuke. Hanging up, Naruto brought up the system panel. Ninja Beast Statistics panel. It recorded all the ninja beasts bred by the Great Snow Mountain Research Institute. Search. Category filtering. Dragon Eagle nickname Chirp. This was the one that cooperated with Sasuke to use the ghost germ technique. The Dragon Eagle was still there. Naruto was relieved. Summoning Chirp. System prompt. Summoning request. System prompt. Request accepted. A circle of light appeared in front of Naruto, and then the circle turned into a cylinder. With a bang, the Dragon Eagle appeared in front of Naruto. The Dragon Eagle was injured. And it was seriously injured. A large piece of meat was missing from its right wing. Bones were exposed. Chirp. Chirp lowered its proud head and rubbed Naruto very affectionately. Naruto directly connected with Chirp. He pulled Chirp into the spiritual world. Although Chirp was intelligent, it couldn't speak human language. Spiritual connection was more convenient. "What happened?" "What's the matter with your injury?" Chirp replied. "It was Sasuke's brother Uchiha Itachi who hurt me." Uchiha Itachi. The bad premonition was even stronger. "Why did he do that?" Chirp shook its head. "I don't know." Uchiha Itachi also dug out Sasuke's eyes. Then he ran away. Uchiha Itachi dug out Sasuke's eyes. Uchiha digging out eyes can't be a good thing. It's nothing more than awakening the Manjikyu Sharingan. Chirp's meat. Chirp's body is fused with Hashirama's cells. Is this a coincidence? No, it's not a coincidence. Itachi didn't understand the characteristics of Kairu's meat, but Hagoromo could definitely feel it. As for not being able to awaken Rinnegan without the reincarnation of Indra, with the help of the Sage of Six Paths, there was no need for the reincarnation of Indra. "Where is Sasuke now?" Chiyochiyo replied. "To the north of the snow country, in the endless snowy plains." Naruto nodded and pressed his hand on Chiyochiyo's body. Yang escape, life infusion. The large piece of flesh missing from Chirp's wings wriggled and began to heal at a speed visible to the naked eye. "Alright, you can go back. Leave Sasuke to me." After sending Chiyochiyo off, Naruto picked up the Yondaime couple and then teleported to the snow country with Obito. "Prepare for Kakashi's wedding first. I have something to do. I'll be back soon." Mekkai, Jiraiya, and the Yondaime couple were all released. Everyone gathered together in full swing. Naruto disappeared in the blink of an eye. Teleportation. When he reappeared, he was already 10 miles away, north of the snow country, in the direction of the endless snowy plains. Naruto stood in the air with his eyes closed. The snow in the sky was getting heavier. Snowflakes fluttered everywhere, constantly spreading, covering the sky and earth. Naruto's consciousness merged into the ice and snow. It didn't take long for him to find Sasuke, lying on the snow with his eyes gouged out. Naruto could feel Sasuke's aura. Sasuke didn't die, but there was no greater sorrow than despair, and it didn't seem to be much different from death. Naruto raised his hand. A huge hand made of ice and snow appeared under Sasuke's body out of thin air. He grabbed the air. Space ninjutsu was launched. Sasuke was brought in front of Naruto in the next moment. Naruto put his hand on Sasuke's body. Sasuke's body was very cold. And if this continues, he won't be far from freezing to death. You're so young, are you tired of living? Naruto muttered. Young release life infusion. The frost on Sasuke's face melted in an instant, and his pale skin quickly became ruddy. Sasuke's consciousness woke up. Naruto. Naruto replied. If you want to die, you have to ask me first. If I don't let you die, you can't die even if you want to. Sasuke was silent. Naruto asked. Are you going to put a pair of Sharingan on your eyes? Or use Yin-Yang release to make you an ordinary one? Don't think about the original Sharingan, my Yin-Yang release is not that good. Sasuke continued to be silent. Naruto answered his own question. You don't look like you like Sharingan, then I'll make you an ordinary one. Naruto's hand pressed on Sasuke's face. Yin-Yang release. True creation regeneration. Bright red blood flowed out of Sasuke's eyes. The shriveled bird's nest bulged again. Come on, open your eyes and see what this is. Sasuke didn't open his eyes. Naruto opened Sasuke's eyelids with his fingers. What is this? Naruto's hand waved in front of Sasuke's eyes. Sasuke's pupils contracted normally. Well, if you don't answer, it seems to be a success. Naruto loosened Sasuke's eyelids. Sasuke didn't continue to close his eyes. He stared blankly ahead, his eyes filled with confusion. Naruto leaned back. Ice and snow rose from the ground and turned into a chair for Naruto to sit. At the same time, Naruto gave Sasuke one, but Sasuke's chair wasn't made of ice, it was made of wood with green leaves. You met the Sage of the Six Paths, right? Naruto's question finally made Sasuke react. He looked at Naruto. Naruto continued. He asked you to seal me, right? Then you refused. Don't look at me so surprised, I don't know what happened, most of it was a guess. Of course it was a reasonable guess. After all, I also met that old guy. He asked me to give up the power of the 10 tails, I didn't trick him. Then he must have been angry. People get more confused as they get older. Sasuke continued to look at Naruto in surprise. Naruto looked at the east hopefully. It seemed a little unnatural. Then he looked at Sasuke. Silence. Thank you for your trust in me. I'm also very sorry. If I'm not wrong, that old guy found your brother after he was defeated by you. And your brother, he made a different choice from you, he took your eyes. He opened the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Then, he dug out Chocho's flesh and took Hashirama's cells. It should be to awaken the Rinnegan. Sasuke finally spoke. His voice was low and terrifying. The numbness on his face disappeared, replaced by a cold chill. You mean it's all because of that Sage of the Six Paths? Naruto nodded affirmatively. 100%. There's no one else except him. Sasuke gritted his teeth and said. He took my brother away. I want him dead. Naruto shrugged and couldn't help but complain. He died hundreds or even thousands of years ago. Sasuke continued. Then I want him dead. Naruto still wanted to say something, but Sasuke's eyes suddenly changed. It's Scarlet 3 Tomo Sharingan. Oh my god. The strong negative emotions made Sasuke open his eyes again. What's more surprising is that his Yin-Yang release is really created in the art of life. The eyes that he repaired are not ordinary eyes. The miracle continues, after the 3 Tomo Sharingan. It's the Mangekyo Sharingan. But the pattern is completely different from the previous Mangekyo Sharingan. If his guess is correct, the abilities are absolutely different. Naruto suddenly became interested. Sasuke, do you desire power? You need to understand Hashirama's cells. I feel that you fused with that thing. The probability of awakening the Rinnegan is very high. Chapter 645. First Generation Cells? Sasuke looked at Naruto in confusion. Naruto revealed 2 rows of big front teeth and explained with a smile. Yes, first-generation cells. Since Hagoromo Sannin has looked for you, then you should already know that you are his son in the past, the reincarnation of Indra, right? Then he pointed to himself and said, and I am the reincarnation of Azura. Speaking of which, we are really ill-fated. I really can't imagine what kind of scene it will be when I call you brother. Sasuke's face was numb. Naruto scratched his head awkwardly. Well, let's talk about the 2 sons of Hagoromo Sannin. The eldest son Indra inherited Hagoromo Sennin's sage pupil, which is Sharingan. You didn't hear wrong. Sharingan is the weakened version of Rinnegan due to bloodline dilution. The second son, Azura, inherited Hagoromo Sennin's sage body. Sasuke thought for a moment and guessed a possibility. He directly interrupted Naruto's long speech and answered. You mean that the combination of Azura's power and Indra's power can make Sharingan evolve into Rinnegan? Naruto nodded with a look of relief. He corrected. However, not everyone can make Rinnegan evolve, and you happen to meet the requirements, the reincarnation of Hagoromo Sannin. Naruto pointed his hands at Sasuke and poked back and forth. Yes, it's you. Are you very excited? However, Sasuke was not happy, but his face was gloomy. He stared fiercely at Naruto and said, Is this accurate? Naruto gave a thumbs up and said, Super accurate. Because my Rinnegan was awakened in this way. Sasuke's face was even gloomier. He lowered his head and said with a dry voice, You bastard, you already knew, right? Why didn't you tell me in advance? If I had awakened Rinnegan earlier, Itachi, that bastard, couldn't have taken my eyes away. Naruto was stumped. He smiled awkwardly and scratched the back of his head awkwardly. He explained, Isn't it because we didn't have any first-generation cells before? Sasuke stared at Naruto. He didn't believe this excuse at all. His eyelids twitched in anger. If there was a reason why she hadn't told him before, perhaps it was because he didn't trust him, or perhaps he was afraid that he would surpass him. No matter which one it was, they all pointed to one thing. As expected, he still hated this guy. Transplant. Sasuke gritted his teeth and squeezed the words out of his mouth. Naruto nodded repeatedly. Okay, last time when I killed that extinction fellow, I got quite a few first-generation cells. System notification. Hinata requests a video call. Why was his wife looking for him? Oh right. Kakashi's wedding. Naruto clicked on the video call, and Hinata's image came into view. Naruto-kun, have you found Sasuke-kun? Asking Sasuke? She should have heard the news from Sakura. Speaking of which, Sakura's intuition was quite sharp. Could this be the power of true love? I found him. Tell Sakura not to worry, I'll bring her boyfriend back soon. Hearing that Sasuke was fine, the worry between Hinata's eyebrows disappeared. He happily said, Okay, I'll tell her now. By the way, Kakashi, Sensei's wedding is ready. You have to come back soon. Okay. Hinata, there seems to be something on your face. Naruto pointed at Hinata's face. Hinata hurriedly wiped it. No, it's here. Hinata, you've tested your face. When Hinata turned her face, Naruto suddenly leaned forward. When Naruto leaned forward, Hinata's image in front of Naruto also leaned forward. Then Naruto kissed her. Hinata's face suddenly turned red. She shyly hung up the call. Naruto laughed wantonly. He laughed very proudly. When Hinata disappeared, Naruto saw Sasuke's half-painted face, and his laughter stopped. Your girlfriend is worried about you, so she asked my wife about your situation. Sasuke's frown deepened and he asked, You told Sakura Haruno about me? Naruto explained. No, I went to look for you, but you weren't there. Sakura said she had a bad feeling. You actually didn't refute me. So you've already admitted that Sakura is your girlfriend? Oh my god. You iron lump, you've finally been conquered. Sasuke's expression didn't improve at all. He coldly replied, I just know who you're talking about. Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and fuse with the first-generation cells. Naruto shrugged and criticized. You should stop before going too far. With your personality, you're as smelly as a rock in the toilet. Being able to meet Sakura is already your greatest fortune. Don't take it for granted. Otherwise, if one day that girl suddenly likes someone else, you won't even be able to cry. Seeing that Sasuke's expression was about to kill someone, Naruto quickly stopped. He cleared his throat and changed the topic. There's no rush to fuse with the first generation's cells. You need to adjust your body to its best condition. Sasuke interrupted. I'm in my best condition right now. Naruto's mouth twitched. He had just been rubbed in the snow, and the snow in his pocket hadn't even melted yet. His best condition? There should be a limit to trying to be brave. Even if you're in your best condition, I still need to prepare. Sasuke simply said, How long? Naruto casually said, Tomorrow at the latest. Oh right, there's something you don't know. Kakashi's wedding is today. Go back and attend the wedding first. You have to experience Kakashi's wedding. If it wasn't to inform you that Kakashi is getting married, you might have frozen to death here. I'll bring you back to take a shower and change your clothes first. Naruto raised his hand and pressed on Sasuke's shoulder. The next moment, Sasuke was sucked into Preserved Egg's inner world. Preserved Egg's inner world underwent earth-shaking changes every day after Naruto became the 10-tailed beast human pillar force. It had changed from a lush slope to a fertile land with mountains and rivers. Naruto believed that it would not be long before the trees would grow. Snow Country. Jiraiya met Tsunade. The two of them chatted as if they were very familiar with each other. They talked about the weather and the ice and snow here. Then, they fell into silence again. That Kato. He was also resurrected, right? Jiraiya lowered his head and played with his fingers. Tsunade was silent for a moment. Suddenly she asked, Do you want him to be resurrected? Jiraiya looked at Tsunade. What should he answer at this time? To be honest, he didn't want Tsunade to resurrect Kato. But does it really matter what he thinks? No matter what the princess in front of him did, she didn't ask for his opinion. She didn't do it when she resurrected Kato. She didn't do it when he left with Leaf. The most excessive thing was that she took his bank book. What's even more excessive was that she didn't spend it and returned it all. I want you to resurrect him. Tsunade was taken aback, lowered her head and muttered to herself. I see, Jiraiya continued. If he's alive, I can have a fair competition with him, Tsunade. I like you. Suddenly, Tsunade felt that her heartstrings were moved for the first time by this lecher in front of her. Jiraiya, you. Chapter 646. Jiraiya confessed his love to her. And not when he was drunk. Since when did this guy become so bold? Is it that people get thicker as they get older? Tsunade looked at Jiraiya blankly, and didn't know how to react for a while. To be honest, she was a little bit moved. That day when she learned that the Yondaime-sama couple was resurrected by Naruto, she went to Naruto. Naruto didn't refuse, but she suddenly hesitated. For some reason, she suddenly remembered the day when Jiraiya was drunk and handed her his bank book. At that time, Jiraiya was silly, stupid, and cute. She didn't even need to use her fingers to take away all the money that she had painstakingly accumulated for decades. Doesn't this guy know that she likes to gamble? Isn't this guy afraid that she will lose all of his money? He just gave it to her. She also planned to gamble all of this fool's money. But every time she walked past the bank, she always forgot to withdraw money. She could only say that this guy was lucky. You want to chase me? Tsunade bent down and put her hands together. Her graceful body was full of temptation. Jiraiya also threw caution to the wind and said very manly, Yes. Tsunade's mouth curled up, and she looked up and down at Jiraiya. But where did you get the confidence? If Kato is resurrected, he will be a little fresh meat. You are already a piece of old bacon. Little fresh meat old bacon? Jiraiya wasn't a resident of the Snow Country, and he didn't receive Naruto's cultural influence. For a while he didn't understand the meaning of these two words. He replied completely with his own understanding. Bacon is good, it has taste. Tsunade was amused with a puffed. Okay, but I don't like men who often go in and out of taverns with color. Jiraiya replied. I won't go again in the future. Tsunade raised an eyebrow. I also don't like men who peek at women's bathrooms. Jiraiya replied again. I promise I won't look. Tsunade leaned close to Jiraiya and breathed in his ear. I like to gamble, and I won't change. Feeling Tsunade's breath, Jiraiya's face was a little red, as if he was drunk. He replied, I'll make money for you to gamble. Tsunade looked indifferent on the surface, but her heart was beating fast. She was attracted to Jiraiya. Tsunade raised her body, suppressed the panic in her heart, and said seriously, Do you really want me to resurrect Broken? Jiraiya nodded. Tsunade smiled. Okay, after little Kakashi's wedding is over, I'll go find Naruto and ask him to revive it. Jiraiya nodded again. After that, the two of them walked back to the house from the rooftop. Back at Kakashi's wedding. The wedding venue had been set up, but the bride had been kidnapped before the groom arrived. On the stage, Hinata and Tian were explaining to Hana Fujita. Haini Kazama listened with a dumbfounded expression. Then she was dragged into the changing room with a dumbfounded expression. Looks like it's about to start. Tsunade watched the bride being pulled into the dressing room. Jiraiya replied, How will we hold our wedding in the future? Ours? Did I agree? Tsunade looked at Jiraiya. Jiraiya seemed to be even more shameless. He licked his lips and said, How about we all listen to you? You can hold it however you want. Tsunade was speechless. Inhale. Exhale. Tsunade suddenly had an idea in her mind. If an author wanted to be flirtatious, he could really be flirtatious. At the same time, Kakashi, who had gone out to buy groceries, returned home. I'm back. However, there was no response. Kakashi took off his shoes and put them away. He was confused. Was Hana asleep? That couldn't be, right? He carried the groceries into the kitchen. Kakashi was preparing to cook, but he still wanted to take a look at Hana Fujita. Otherwise, there would always be a sense of unease. He opened the bedroom door. Hana Fujita wasn't there. She wasn't in the living room either. Upstairs she wasn't there either. Where was she? Kakashi finally became nervous. He narrowed his eyes and observed the details in the room. The window. There were signs that the window had been forcefully opened. Someone had snuck into his room. Kakashi couldn't hold back anymore. He activated his Sharingan. For a moment, the small details that couldn't be noticed by the naked eye were magnified infinitely. He followed the traces left behind by the intruder and found a note. There were only 3 sentences on the note. Your wife is already in my hands. If you don't want both of us to die, wear the clothes I prepared for you and go to XXXX alone. Pay attention, wear the clothes as they are. If you try to be smart, don't even think about seeing your delicate wife or your unborn son again. Also, I won't tell you how much time you have left, but if you miss it, you will have to collect the corpse. Would Leaf's lonely soul. Would Leaf? Kakashi's heart suddenly skipped a beat. These 2 words were too glaring. Kakashi took a deep breath and opened the box under the note as quickly as possible. There was a suit and shoes in the box. The suit was heavy. Very heavy. Kakashi couldn't pick it up with one hand. With only 2 hands, he had to use the strength of his waist and his legs to lift it up. There was something wrong with this suit. He opened the suit. Sure enough, there was something similar to a heavy armor inside. It was covered with explosive talismans. The pants were the same. The shoes didn't have explosive talismans, but they were also super heavy. Kakashi looked at the note again. Pay attention, wear the clothes as they are. If you try to be smart, don't even think about seeing your delicate wife or your unborn son again. Also, I won't tell you how much time you have left, but if you miss it, you will have to collect the corpse. Kakashi clenched his fist. Gritting his teeth, he put on the clothes. Ever since he came to Snow Country, he rarely cultivated. It was difficult to put on these clothes. After putting them on, he was sweating like rain. Then he continued to put on the pants and shoes. When he finished putting on the clothes, he was on the verge of collapse. Hashiman Tanku. First gate. Open. Kakashi's veins were bulging, but his swaying body finally stabilized. Then he rushed to the designated location. Should he tell Naruto? Kakashi was thinking as he hurried along. But the other party left him alone. If Hwayu was hurt because of the breach of the contract, what should he do? What would he do if it was the past? If it was Naruto's transformation, Thinking of Naruto, he thought of the signature on the note. Woodleaf's lonely soul. Was it the Woodleaf's people who came looking for him? Were they coming to take revenge on him, the failed Naruto? If that was the case, then as long as he didn't hurt Hwayu, what was wrong with taking his life? With that in mind, Kakashi began to run with all his might. His footsteps were heavy. Even if he spread out chakra, the ground would still rumble. He had arrived. Was this the house? Kakashi arrived at the designated location on the note. Then he rushed in. There was no light in the room. Even at night, it was impossible. He could only say that he had fallen into an illusion. Kakashi roared. I'm coming. Release Hwayu. My life is at your disposal. Chapter 647. Asterisk Creek. Asterisk Kakashi stepped into the room, and the heavy wooden door slowly closed with a long creak. Finally, the door slammed together with a loud bang. Everything was silent. Let go of Kazumi. You can do whatever you want with me. The venue was large and there were very few people attending the wedding, so the room was especially empty. Kakashi's voice even echoed. You can do whatever you want with me. You can do whatever you want with me. Silence. After about 10 seconds, someone finally spoke. The voice was dull and hoarse, and it was impossible to tell who was speaking. Kakashi. You want to use your life in exchange for Kazumi's life? Kakashi looked in the direction of the voice. He still couldn't see with his eyes, so he could only listen to the voice. I'm willing. As long as you don't hurt Kazumi, I'm willing to do anything. Silence again. In the quiet room, one could even hear the sound of the clock pendulum outside the building. Asterisk tick-tock. Tick-tock. Asterisk there was also the faint sound of gears grinding. Finally, the tense atmosphere made Kakashi hear the sound of his own heart beating. Then, the hoarse and low voice finally spoke again. Whether rich or poor, sick or healthy, young or old, are you willing? Are you willing to protect her, comfort her, and accompany her for the rest of her life? Never leaving her? Kakashi was dumbfounded. At this moment, with a loud bang, the lights turned on. The Manjikyu Sharingan's blinding illusion was dispelled. In Kakashi's eyes, light shone from the top of the stage, making a girl in a snow-white wedding dress seem like an angel descending to the mortal world. And that girl was his wife, Kazumi Kazumi. Kakashi, I'm sorry. Kazumi looked at Kakashi helplessly, and there was even a trace of pity in her eyes. At this time, Kakashi's head was covered in sweat, and he couldn't be more embarrassed. His wedding suit was completely soaked. Kakashi finally breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that Kazumi was fine. Looking next to Kazumi, there was CE holding a microphone with a smug expression. She looked very familiar. Hey. Kakashi's eyes widened. Mekkei let out a strange cry. Aren't you surprised? Are you surprised? In the auditorium, Naruto stared blankly at Kakashi's cumbersome ceremonial robe. Under the perception barrier, the internal structure of Kakashi's ceremonial robe was quite clear. Wait. This dress is really unique. The corner of Sasuke's mouth twitched. Why are you so surprised? It wasn't you? Naruto rolled his eyes and explained. How could it be me? This is obviously Mekkei's handiwork. On the stage, Mekkei said proudly. Don't just stand there. Hurry up and tell me if you agree or not. If you don't, I'll kill her. Kakashi's mouth opened and closed like a helpless little carp that had been scooped up. I'm willing. After all, Kakashi was not stupid. He quickly thought of the most reasonable explanation. This was not a kidnapping. It was a wedding. Mekkei nodded in satisfaction. He urged. Then why are you still standing there like a fool? Hurry up and finish the ceremony. By the way, your ceremonial robe was specially prepared for you by me. It contains my most sincere blessings. Kakashi's legs trembled. He took a deep breath and walked towards Mekkei. Mekkei smiled and turned to Hanatsuki. Whether rich or poor, in sickness or in health, in prosperity or in adversity, are you willing to respect him, support him, and accompany him for the rest of your life and never leave him? Everyone focused on Hanatsuki's face. As for Haini Fujisan, she looked at Kakashi lovingly. I'm willing. What happened next was more normal. Under the applause and cheers, the wedding was a complete success. After the ceremony, the indecent C leaned over to Kakashi's ear and whispered, "Seeing that you're wearing the ceremonial robe filled with blessings that I prepared for you, I won't lower myself to your level. You're really lucky. The other families are still squatting in the side accounts, but you're quietly marrying a rich and beautiful girl outside." Although his words were filled with resentment, it was clear that Metke only had blessings filled with jealousy for Kakashi. Yes, he was filled with jealousy, and it was the undisguised kind. Metke interrupted. "Let's not talk about other things today. Today is your wedding. By the way, there are 3 special guests today." With that, Metke pointed below the stage. Because the stage lights were too bright, Kakashi did not notice the people below. How was that possible? Today, Obito was wearing a handsome suit. Although half of his face was disfigured, the other half was still brimming with a heartfelt smile. When Kakashi saw Obito, Obito's smile was even more brilliant. Obito pointed to the side. The 4th generation couple came into view. Everyone in the Mingdu Empire knew about the resurrection of the 4th generation Naruto, but the Snow Country had not released the news yet. The big reason was to give Kakashi a surprise. "Minato-sensei, Kakashi rushed over excitedly. Kakashi's first reaction was that the person in front of him was Naruto's Edo-tensei. But when he took a closer look, there was a qualitative difference between the living and the dead, whether it was in the aura or the degree of vitality. These were all living people. How could you?" Obito replied. "Sorry, in fact, I'm not dead, but I can't show up for special reasons. Minato-sensei and the others are more legendary. They were resurrected by Naruto with Rinnegan." Namikaze Minato raised his hand and patted Kakashi on the shoulder. "You've done a good job. I'm very happy to hear that you're Naruto." Kakashi suddenly felt lost when he heard this. He was very aggrieved, and he was about to cry. But Wood Leaf was buried in my hands. I didn't do a good job as Naruto. Uzumaki Kushina also patted Kakashi on the shoulder and said, "Wood Leaf's matter is not your fault. Who told you to meet my son?" This sentence was very arrogant. Naruto cleared his throat and changed the topic. "Today is a happy day. Why are you talking about this? Come on. Let the groom lie down." Naruto's words were echoed by everyone. Once again there were Tion Hinata, Sakura Haruno, Sasuke, Jiraiya Tsunade, and a group of graduate students from the Great Snow Mountain. There were a lot of people. Cheers. Naruto put the wine glass in Kakashi's hand, ding, and then drank it boldly. Kakashi also drank it. Then, everyone lined up, and the wheels of the cart started to turn, until Kakashi staggered and fell to the ground. But this was not the end. Metke took off Kakashi's heavy suit and continued to toast. Today, for Kakashi, was bound to be a day of drinking. Chapter 648. Kakashi's wedding went smoothly. He came in vertically and went out horizontally. It could be said that he was not going home until he was drunk. The next day, Sasuke was transplanted with the first generation cells. The location was not the Great Snow Mountain Research Institute, but the ice field to the north of the Snow Country. This way he could avoid affecting others. After all, the movement of the first generation cells was not small. I'm telling you in advance. The process of fusing with the first generation cells is quite brutal. If I have to describe it, it's like a chakra bomb exploding in the body. So you'd better be mentally prepared. Naruto took a fist-sized ball of flesh from the first generation's cells and gestured on Sasuke's body. He asked casually, "Where do you think it's best to suture this piece of flesh?" Sasuke looked at the ball of flesh and replied, "Up to you." Naruto walked around Sasuke and gestured to put it on Sasuke's back. "This place is not bad." Chakra's scalpel moved and cut Sasuke's clothes from top to bottom. Sasuke only felt a chill. Then, a ball of flesh was pressed on. A sense of expansion followed. The ball of flesh fused into Sasuke's back. Rolling flesh spread out. Then it gradually bulged and formed an angular human face. The first generation's Naruto held Hashirama's face. "Hold it in. The show has just begun." Naruto shouted. His spiritual power rushed into the first generation's cells and swept away the spiritual power left by the first generation's Naruto in the cells. When the will was washed away, the powerful vitality contained in the first generation's cells also lost its restraint. For a moment, it was like a wild horse that was free of its reins. It ran wild in Sasuke's body. The muscles on Sasuke's back began to expand exaggeratedly. It was as if a pair of flesh wings had opened. Then with a creak, the muscles contracted. Under the sudden contraction of the muscles, Sasuke's original bones couldn't bear the burden and were directly broken. Sasuke was originally holding on, but the pain of his broken bones still made him groan. Naruto reminded him from the side. Just hold on. Broken bones will grow back. Don't worry. Because of the increase in vitality, the bones will stubbornly grow according to the genetic sequence. They won't grow crooked. Sasuke's face was covered with beads of sweat the size of soybeans. The pain of broken bones, the itchiness of growing bones, and the soreness of swollen muscles. All kinds of feelings were intertwined, and it was really maddening. In the end, Sasuke still roared. He punched the ground. The layer of ice in this extremely cold place was even harder than rock. This time, Sasuke's hand was directly fractured. Sasuke curled up on the ground in pain. Steam rose from his body like boiling water. Naruto found a good angle and recorded the scene clearly. The wailing continued for an entire day and night. The fiery red sun set in the west, and the next day rose from the east. There was a huge ice pit where Sasuke was. He was lying at the bottom of the pit, and only the water vapor rose slowly with a sizzling sound. After a while he suddenly opened his eyes. It's the Rinnegan. A pair of Sharingan without Rinnegan. This is somewhat different from the development of the original world. But it also makes sense. After all, this pair of eyes was obtained by Sasuke's own efforts by fusing with Shodai's cells, not a gift from the Rakuto Sennin. It's really awakened. Naruto stared at Sasuke's eyes. At this moment he suddenly had a bold idea in his heart. Hey Sasuke, I have an idea, do you want to hear it? Sasuke's eyes turned to look at Naruto. The two pairs of Rinnegan looked at each other. But the difference is that Naruto's Rinnegan is a pair of red 9 Tomo Rinnegan Sharingan, while Sasuke's are purple, without Tomo, pure Rinnegan. It's very similar to Uchiha Madara's original pair. What's your idea? You never have a good idea. Compared to your idea, I want to fight with you more now. Sasuke stared at Naruto seriously, looking for flaws in Naruto's body, ready to launch an attack. But the strange thing is that Naruto is standing there very casually, and it seems that there are many flaws. But as long as he is ready to attack, he will have a bad feeling, and that flaw will disappear. This feeling is very contradictory. It's very uncomfortable. This is definitely a very good idea. I promise. I thought of a good way to get rich. My idea is like this. First, I will dig out your Rinnegan, and then I will treat you with yin-yang release. This way, your eyes will grow back again. Then you will lose your temper again. The Sharingan will open again. Sasuke's little face was dark as he listened. This is a good idea? This is a fart idea. It's enough to gouge out his eyes once, but Naruto wants to do it again. Psycho. Sasuke took a deep breath and found the gap in Naruto's body, and no longer hesitated. He hit Naruto with a whip kick. Wood Leaf Taijutsu, Wood Leaf Whirlwind. The speed is extremely fast after the fusion of first Hokage's cells. The strength of the body at this time is completely different. However, this attack missed. Naruto dodged the attack faster than Kuroto's whip kick, and circled behind him. He continued to chatter. Sasuke, if you want to fight, wait a while, I will talk to you first. Rinnegan. Do you know how precious this thing is? There is a good opportunity to mass produce it. Sasuke's face was blue. His right foot twisted the ground, and his left leg hit Naruto again. This time, the speed was even faster than before, but it missed again. Under the vision of Rinnegan, Naruto leaned sideways and dodged his attack very easily. Again, a dark thunder appeared on Sasuke's body. The fusion of thunder attribute chakra and fire attribute chakra. Sasuke's speed increased again, and the dark thunder spread all over Sasuke's body. Wood Leaf. Whirlwind. An extremely fierce right whip kick. Naruto didn't dodge. The opportunity is here. Under the vision of Rinnegan, Naruto was still standing in the same place. Sasuke can no longer suppress the excitement in his heart, and his adrenaline increased. A violent blow. However, Naruto raised his hand and directly grabbed Sasuke's ankle. Oh, don't rush to familiarize yourself with the power. Listen to me. This is really a serious matter. Naruto said with a serious face. Sasuke stared at Naruto's hand. His full-strength whip kick was blocked by Naruto so casually. How big is the gap between him and Naruto? This gap can't even be made up by the first-generation cells and Rinnegan? Naruto saw Sasuke in a daze, so he waved his right hand that didn't grab Sasuke's ankle and said, "Hey, don't run away. I'm talking to you about serious matters. Do you know how precious Rinnegan is? In this world, in addition to you and me, it may be your brother. Such a precious eye, don't you want it?" You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.